Brian Fagan and Glen Biegel are here. They're going to tear it up, rip it down, and shoot it straight. Fagan and Biegel in the morning on Hot Talk, KOAN. And now, Fagan and Biegel.
And good morning. It is 6:06 a.m. here on Fagan Biegel. My name is Glen Biegel, and you will find out a little bit more about me after I tell you about the call letters and who you're listening to. It is 6 to 9 a.m. Fagan and Biegel in the morning, and we are on KOAN, which is 1080 and 95.1 here in Anchorage, and also out in the valley, KVNT, which is 1020 and 92.5. And I'm glad to have you with us. My pleasure to be with you. You are in store for a tsunami of conservatism, a volcano of information, a roller coaster of entertainment here on the program. And I would love to hear from you. 569-1080 is the number. 569-1080 here on KOAN and KVNT. Brian is in the studio over there taking care of all things technical. It's nice to have him here to watch over things. I want to get started right off the bat. Lots going on in the state of Alaska. Just to describe the state of the battle, we are in sort of a new phase, as we always are. America is always recreating herself. They said that liberty does not transfer itself in the blood, and each generation must learn how to fight for liberty on its own. And I think that is true. We're a very wealthy country. There are a lot of parts of the country that are very broken. There are a lot of parts of the country that work pretty well. So we will talk about all that. I'd love to hear from you again. 569-1080. 569-1080 is the number. One of the things that's going to be fascinating to watch is to see how liberals and conservatives deal with Obamacare this year, right? What is the right answer? What is Obamacare? And I've asked this question like a million times. What in the world did they pass? You know, Nancy Pelosi, I think, actually spoke the truth. She was not kidding. She was not lying. She said, we're going to need to pass the bill to find out what's in it. And everybody thought, that is the most ridiculous statement. She was telling the truth. She wasn't kidding. They didn't have any idea. They knew there were 160 different boards and commissions. They knew there was a whole, right? There was a whole bunch of government that was involved in this. But I don't know that they do exactly, well, how does this play in the marketplace? Who does this help? Who does this hurt? Well, that information is in. And it's actually, the funny thing is, it's in from the New York Times. And it was a couple of months ago. Everybody probably missed it. But I wanted to bring it up again, and there's a piece about this out in the Frontiersman as well. Medicaid shift will impact Matsu. By the way, every person who goes to see a doctor under Medicaid, you pay. Your insurance pays. Every single person who goes to see a doctor under Medicaid, you pay. That's the way that works. I was discussing this and debating this with people out there, and there seems to be a lot of confusion, which I think is why we have to have clear-headed thinking and honest presentations. Who does this help? Who does this help? Obamacare. Uber, I think, said it the best. There's a libertarian guy, very conservative guy, owns Uber, runs Uber or whatever. He says, well, this is good because it divorces you getting health care from your job. I think that's a group of people who were big winners. Businesses basically were required to provide you health care as a function of the marketplace because they had to compete against other businesses. The problem was our healthcare system is completely broken because of government interference. You can't raise the price of having a broken arm 5, 6, 7, 8 times over the course of 20 years and call it a healthcare system that works. You just can't. It just doesn't work. Every time you go to the doctor, every single time, could be catastrophic. That's even if you just get a few tests. They're going to want you to get an MRI. They're going to want you to get a CAT scan. CAT scans cost $6,000-7,000. MRIs, they could cost, I don't know, $3,000 to $7,000, I suppose. Depends on where you get them. You're talking a catastrophic situation. Who does this hurt? Middle-class people. You knew it was going to be the case. You knew it was going to be the case. Where do they always go after? The middle class. They always tell people, see, this is what they did. They handed the middle class, hey, here is subsidized insurance. You know what those middle class people found out? And this is what they printed in the New York Times. Largest percentage of people cannot afford to go to the doctor. Why? Because it didn't do any cost containment. No cost containment whatsoever. So certain hospitals do very well under Obamacare. Another group of people who do well, people who want to get on welfare. They're going to give welfare to, I think, everybody who earns under $133,000. This is one of Walker's sort of tests, and one of the Republicans' tests as well. One of the articles of faith for Republicans is it's bad to expand Obamacare. That's just one of the things that conservatives believe. Obamacare is the beginning or the middle part of taking over health care for the United States. And so they just believe as an article of faith. So it's going to be, we're going to watch them test whether or not they can handle that debate. The frontiersman, by the way, says they could have up to 5,000 additional welfare recipients, Medicaid recipients, in the Matsu alone. Of course, later in the story, they drop that down to 1,200 or 1,440. Now, is there? I don't really get why people are allowed to just spray out numbers like it doesn't make any difference which number you use. Can we just make an agreement here? As conservatives, numbers do matter. Whatever the reality of the situation is, it does matter. You can't say $5,000 at the beginning of the story and then it's $1,440 a little later in the story. But that's where we are at, and that's one of the reasons why it is so difficult to page and piece through this. What's the answer to Obamacare? I'll be interested to see whether or not the conservatives out there can gather together enough people in the United States, because we don't have the great things that the left had, right? They had stupid voters who hated Republicans. All they wanted to do was do something Republicans didn't like, and the media wasn't going to ask questions. Well, of course the media is going to ask questions if it's a Republican plan. Anyway, hopefully they will reintroduce some kind of Bill of Rights for insurance for the insured. I don't want my insurance money going to pay for some government program. That doesn't seem fair to me. So I hope that they do something like that. I think there are some good options for them. We'll figure all that out. Lots to cover on the program today. You're listening to Fagan and Biegel in the morning, 6:14 a.m. Dan's going to be in at 7 today. You are listening to Glen Biegel. Please give me a call, 569-1080. Love to hear from you. I'll give you a quick shot of the news just after this break. Stay tuned.
Fagan and Biegel. Give him a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
The highway, a strip of asphalt to carry you between points A and B. But in an all-new 2015 Mercedes-Benz GLA, there is no point B. Because when you're driving a GLA from Mercedes-Benz, you're not concerned with the destination, only the adventure. With off-road transmission mode and a sleek design, this SUV performs with confident style on any terrain. And no matter where your adventure takes you, the all-new GLA's sporty, expressive styling fits in, yet stands out, complementing the many sides of you. See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today and see the world differently in a GLA 250 4MATIC, starting at $33,300.
MSRP for a 2015 GLA 250 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
It's not just Dennis Prager. It's Dennis Prager.
Special treat, folks. We have secured Dennis Prager. He will be on the line, live, and in person. Dennis Prager. That's right, uninterrupted. We'll just be having Dennis Prager, one of my favorite guests. In fact, the only place you can ever hear Dennis Prager is on the Dennis Prager Show. So, don't forget, Dennis Prager on the next Dennis Prager Show.
Weekday mornings beginning at 9 on Hot Talk KOAN.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be the best time. The current interest rates are still very low in comparison to previous loan rates. Now is the time to take advantage of this uncommon phenomenon. We will look back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell. Homeowners planning to sell should call us at 244-0821. We will be happy to come out and do a comparative market analysis at your convenience. Call Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821. That's 244-0821.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
$6:17 a.m. Glen Biegel here. Dan will be in at 7. You're listening to Fagan Biegel in the morning on KOAN and KVNT. 569-1080 is the phone number, and you can also get us. We live stream at danfagan.us, both video and audio, and there's a TuneIn app as well. Am I right on all that, Brian? Have I got all that? Yes, good. Brian, looking over all things.
But hopefully they've already figured it out if they're listening.
Yes, I have a feeling they may not know all the different options, or they may be looking to tell other people about it, which is really what is necessary for us to grow in size. So glad to have you on. This is Glen Biegel. You are ready for, hopefully, if you're strapped in, a tsunami of conservatism, a volcano of information, and a roller coaster of entertainment. A fascinating set of stories out there. Let me give you 3 of them at the top of the news. State closes the Bethel office of the Department of Environmental Conservation. It's not a big office, let's just say that, but it is an indication, and maybe the first one that we have, that things are going to be changing fairly dramatically. The expense of carrying employees out in the bush, this one is in Bethel, which is nominally the bush. You know, Bethel's a pretty big place. It's about 5,000 people, and it costs much less to house someone there than it does most other places, but still. State closes Bethel office of Department of Environmental Conservation. Citing budgetary issues and restructuring, the DEC's Spill and Response Office in Bethel closed December 31st. I wonder when the last spill went on out there. It probably was just an outreach to the city of Bethel. Can we'll call it a city? In Alaska terms, 5,000 is we're going to include in the city category. 7 Alaska communities report the warmest year on record. Actually, that is not true. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I see. The map's a little confusing. So there are 7, and that's Kotzebue, Nome, Bethel, King Salmon, Homer, Cold Bay, and I can't make out the last one. But Anchorage recorded its 2nd warmest year ever. Brian, can we get a thumbs up or a thumbs down on that?
2nd warmest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that part. I did hear, that it didn't go below 0.
Yeah. And now, was that the high, by the way? This is a big topic of conversation at the Biegel household. The lowest high was not above 0. Is that right? Or it just never got below 0 at the airport for an entire year?
Yeah, it got to 0, but not below 0 for an entire year.
Wow.
But that's only, the official recordings. Of course, over on the east side of Anchorage, they'll tell you different.
Yeah, it was 10 to 15 degrees colder, as well as out in Eagle River and a lot of places out there. This is what I find funny about this, by the way. Just a few years ago, I was on the internet. Of course, arguing with a lot of people on the left. And I basically was making a point about local weather here, local weather there, the number of record cold days, the number of record warm days. You know what they told me? That's weather, not climate. That's weather and not climate. Listen, you big dummy. I don't know. Are you conservative? You must be stupid. That's weather and not climate. That's weather and not climate. They would tell me that every single day. You know what now? All we see are stories like this. Guess what? That's weather, not climate. Because you know what? It's really cold in a lot of other places. Has the jet stream changed? Yeah. You know what's changing fast, by the way, is where the North Pole is, the magnetic North Pole. I wonder if that has anything to do with where the jet stream goes. Because it's migrating like 40 miles a year, which is really fast.
It's all fluid, and you can't expect it to stay the same forever.
Exactly. It never stays the same. Well, the Pope has come on board on this, by the way, and I think that's going to cause a huge rift in the Catholic Church, of
Is
which
he a
I'm a
scientist?
member. No, but he has many scientists who work for him. Look, 97% of scientists are paid by the government, and they all agree. We like our paychecks. We want to keep getting paid. The government has more money than you do, and therefore, climate is settled science.
Yeah, we need more studies.
Nobody's ever heard of anything like that, by the way. There has never been a scientist who, after being wrong, comes out and says, this is settled science.
I want to give back the money.
No one's ever said that. It's the craziest thing. It's the strangest thing. I think the Earth is warming. I think carbon dioxide does very lightly and slightly increase the temperature of the planet. I think the planet has done very well as the planet has warmed. I don't think we do well in ice ages. And so anyway, that's sort of my take on it. The part of the global warming hysterics that I do disagree with. I disagree with two parts. First of all, that we're headed to catastrophe. That what do they call it? The radiator of the world, which is the polar ice pack at the North Pole. That's what they call that. They say, well, when the radiator of the world goes down, then we are going to see dramatic, vast, massive increases in temperature. Well, their predictions have been wrong. We know why their predictions are wrong. They don't update the predictions. They still use Horace Mann and his hockey stick theory, which we know is also wrong. And look, they don't have to. They don't have to apologize for being wrong. They don't have to update their statistics when they're wrong. They don't even have to change their methods when they're wrong. It's fascinating to watch as a conservative what it is that the left can get away with. You know, you look at Gruber, and you know that Gruber totally got it right. This guy named Gruber helped design Obamacare. And he says, we really depend on people being stupid. So they let us do what we want to do because we know what's best for them. And, of course, we depend on the media not asking any questions. No, it's a battle extraordinaire. Great news out there nationally. There is a challenge that's going on to somebody who is in high position, a mini mutiny, which I do think I would gain great pleasure, and I will actually get involved in this mini mutiny against John Boehner. Palace intrigue is what they're calling it. A mini mutiny may be underway in the House of Representatives as another conservative has announced that he will oppose Representative John Boehner in his re-election bid as House Speaker. Representative Jim Bridenstine did not mince words in his press release Friday titled, "I will not vote for John Boehner." In the brief statement, the Oklahoma Republican claimed that Mr. Boehner joined forces with the president on the $1.1 trillion budget, also known as Cromnibus. I wonder if that's crime and omnibus. I think that is. I think it's continuing resolution, which he said blocked our newest elected Republicans from advancing conservative policy and delivering on campaign promises. With this vote, Republicans gave away the best tool available to rein in our liberal activist president, the power of the purse. The power of the purse is Congress's constitutional strength. While a statement bashed the president, not the speaker, Mr. Bridenstine wrote that Mr. Boehner's support for a bad bill makes him unqualified for the top House post. Now, this is what I'm hoping that you are ready for in this new year, my merry band of conservative allies. We have to do things which give us joy. The left gets to do all kinds of stuff that gives them great joy. They go out and they make up stuff about conservatives and about liberal policies and how they're working. And we don't really, all we do is we think, good gracious, that is outrageous. That is just crazy. You know, when we look at the government or whatever policies are going on. And I think that this is one of the things where there's really no lose. We can go out and complain to Representative Young and give to Americans for Prosperity or any group that's actually trying to do something about the speaker. And the reason why the speaker is, I don't think, a great choice for this position, and obviously I am from the outside looking in, he may be doing the best job that can be done. This is the difficulty for conservatives. Watch what you ask for because you just might get it. Right? Paul Jenkins got a brilliant article about AO37. Watch what you ask for because you just might get it, and then you got to deal with the consequences. So if John Boehner, you know, from the outside looking in, he keeps supporting liberal policies, there might be a whole bunch of liberals down there in the Republican Party, and that's just the best we can do. I don't know. Maybe we got a lot more work to do to get conservatives down there. From my point of view, he doesn't do a very good job of setting this president up. The whole election cycle, from now until the end of 2016, is about one thing as far as Republicans are concerned. We're not going to get a lot of what we want. We may get some of what we want, but we're not going to get a lot of it. This president is a radical. The 45 Democrats who are still there, or I think it's 44 Democrats and a socialist, tell me the difference, that are still in the Senate are going to be able to block most things. So with the president in the Senate, probably not going to get a lot, so they're going to play a lot of politics. My concern is John Boehner doesn't have good instincts. He doesn't know how to turn this against the president. Now, we'll see whether or not he does retain Speaker, and my guess is he probably will. You want to know why it's so hard, by the way, for people to get to oust a Speaker? He holds, once you come out against him, you're written off. Once you come out against him, you're out of the power structure. Once you come out against him, you lose committee chairmanships and all the other niceties and whatever, even committee assignments. Who knows how much damage can be done? That is the power of Speaker. So normally the way that these things work is you don't come out against the Speaker unless you sort of have enough people to cause trouble. Well, I'm sure these guys do not have enough people to cause trouble yet. That is up for you and me, and I think it could be a fun thing to do. This could be our first exercise in liberty for the upcoming year, starting here on, is it January 5th already? Man, January 5th. You're listening to Fagan and Biegel, KOAN, KVNT 569, 1080 is the number. Dan will be in at 7. And you are listening to Glen Biegel, a tsunami of conservatism, a volcano of information, and a roller coaster of entertainment. Lots left on the program, including covering Paul Jenkins' article about AO37. How big was the mistake that we made in pushing forth legislation and not having the Army ready to roll when we did it? Great question and a great point. 6:29 a.m. KOAN, KVNT, Fagan and Biegel in the morning. 9 a.m. KOAN, KVNT, Fagan and Biegel in the morning.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Traffic deaths in this state have hit a 7-year high. Ann Kenda reports.
65 people died on Alaska roads in 2014, which was the highest level since 2007, which had 75 traffic fatalities. 2014's rate is 70 if it includes pedestrians and cyclists, in addition to car collisions. Statistics are still being compiled about how many of the fatalities were related to drugs and alcohol.
The Alaska legislature has redesigned its website. akledge.gov debuted the new look. It's described as more user-friendly. It automatically adjusts size for smartphones and tablets. Finally, a moose buried in an avalanche at Hatcher Pass got out of a tough spot with the help of 3 snowmobilers from Matsu. The men saw the animal's snout sticking out of the snow on a small hillside and shoveled for about 10 minutes to help the moose get free.
That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Cold day today with clouds and sun, high of 11. Then mainly clear and cold tonight with a low 4 below 0. Cold day with clouds and sun tomorrow, high 15 and a low tomorrow night of 10. Then a rather cloudy day Wednesday with a high 21. Mostly cloudy and warmer for Thursday, high 31. Then remaining mostly cloudy Friday, high 32. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Make your dollars stretch with Sicily's first ever BOGO special. Buy one, get one half price. Save 50% off pizza, calzone, pasta, salad, chicken wings, and everything else on the Sicily's menu.
When I buy a pizza, can I have wings at half price?
Yes.
Can I save 50% off pasta if I buy a calzone?
Yes, you can save 50% off everything on the menu. If you want a great deal, call Sicily's 333-8000 and ask for the Sicily's BOGO special. 50% off everything on the menu. That's 333-8000 or order online at SicilysPizza.com. Discounted item must be of equal or lesser value. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
From our police and firefighters to our first-line responders, from our schools to our hospitals, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the Alaska Police and Fire Chaplains Ministries is here for you. Please be here for us by donating part of your PFD when it matters. Pick, click, give for Alaska Police and Fire Chaplains Ministries today.
When you pick, click, give with the Alaska Zoo in mind, you're picking Alaskan animals that have been injured or orphaned in the wild and now have a second chance at life. You're clicking for education for students near and far, and you're giving to everyone who visits and is awed by polar bears swimming and wolves howling.
Pick, click, give is here. It's your chance to start something big. Big Brothers Big Sisters helps children realize their potential and build great futures. We put children on the path to success, strengthening our communities, and we couldn't do any of it without you. Please support Big Brothers Big Sisters today and pick, click, give.
Being a business owner isn't easy. There's managing people, customers, income, expenses, unexpected issues, growing your brand, and so much more. Ready to be more efficient in everything you do? Then listen to Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Each week, David gives you the inside scoop on the latest business news and trends, along with tools for keeping your business on track. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
You want me to talk during this song? No way. Crank that up.
Well, it's just a bumper music. It just loops.
Now, here's the deal. Have you ever seen this video?
Yeah, of course.
The guy has the biggest hair ever. The guitar player?
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is Journey. All right. Probably my favorite band. Top one or two.
I saw them live here in Anchorage.
No way!
And I was in the front row.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
What was it like?
It's pretty awesome.
Oh,
I was
man.
15.
Wow.
So I don't remember it as great. It was a long time ago.
That was at the height of their power.
Yeah, that was in the 80s right here at Sullivan Arena.
Holy smokes. Man. Oh,
First time I ever bought a scalp ticket. First and last time.
Yeah. What was it, about 250?
I can't remember. I think I paid a couple $100 though for 2 tickets. Back in the
okay.
80s, that was a lot of money.
That was a lot of money.
For a kid working at the movie theater.
Well, you don't remember it. Doesn't sound like too well. You remember something about it. Was it good?
I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
And I remember who I was with. And so, yeah, it was all good.
All right. Now, with Steve Perry is awesome. To me, he has the most awesome male voice in...
He does. He's got a really good singing voice.
Yeah. Almost as good as mine in some ways.
Almost. Yeah, you should start a band.
There you go.
We talk about that a lot, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Get all the kids together and
start a band.
The Biegel band.
The banjo, bagpipe.
Well, instead of the
Biegel
Beatles, the Biegels.
Big movements going on. You're listening to KON, KVNT, Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Dan will be in at 7, and this is the blowtorch conservative. Look, I'm not trying to hide, as it seems like most conservatives, maybe most conservatives just moved out of the state. Maybe they've just given up. Maybe they're just being quiet. Maybe they're just tired. I don't have any idea, but I go out and battle it out on the Anchorage Daily News and KTUU and the Fairbanks News Miner. I'm out there just about every day. And here is what I think is partially wrong with conservatism. We don't gain energy by doing what we should, which is to go out there and do battle. So one of my resolutions, and I hope people have resolutions. Do you have resolutions, Brian?
Yep.
You do? All right. Hopefully one of them is to get a woman. If you are a woman and you see Brian, he's looking for you. So.
No, actually, I was just going to boycott a certain restaurant for 3 months, and that's all. That's the only thing I'm resoluting to.
Wow. Well, that's very specific. It's measurable. It is obviously attainable. It's timely. This is smart.
I'm 5 days in.
You're 5 days in. This is not going to be a problem. Now, the difficulty is you may become addicted to Burger King instead of McDonald's. Am I close?
No.
Doggone it.
Well, you know, I started just saying one, and now I've kind of decided it kind of has to be all of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, good idea. Well, you know, the problem is going out to eat at these restaurants. Of course, you're eating a whole lot more fat than you otherwise would, probably a whole lot more sugar, and your portion size is out of control. Well, I'm going to talk about different things that I have resolved to do. And the first one I've started on, which is I've got to lose some of the weight I put on during the holidays. And that's going very well. Already down 7 pounds. And, you know, I got trained how to do this by a sponsor on the program. And I'll tell you, you know, having an expert tell you what to do, it makes all the difference in the world. State of Alaska is in fairly dire straits as far as continuing to do business the way we always have. And this is the big question, one of the big dividing lines between liberals and conservatives. If you are a conservative and I ask you this question, you will have one answer. Who is it better to leave your money with, you or the government? Pretty much every conservative, most normal people, I mean, this is the broad coalition of people who I'm always trying to unite. Common sense independents, libertarians, conservatives. They are all going to answer that question in exactly the same way, and it's the opposite of the way Mark Begich would answer the question. Of course it's better for me to keep my money. It's better for me to give to a charity than it is to give to government. Charities, very efficient. Government, very wasteful. Charities, based on love. Government, based on your right to take somebody else's stuff and not do what you should. That's not the way government used to be, but that's kind of the way government is. You ask a liberal, and what they're going to first do is start saying, you know, I just don't think you understand how great your life is. To which you might say, how in the world do you know how great my life is? How do you know how hard I work? What are you talking about? How do you get the right to tell me what I'm going to do with my money? Get out of my wallet. Get out of my wallet. It's funny because I guess with the Christian coalition and all that, conservatives got the moniker of being in people's bedrooms, and liberals are in every other room of your house. Every single other room of your house. And I don't think these days, actually, conservatives are in your bedroom, but for whatever that's worth. But yeah, liberals are in every other, and they're in your pocket. So that is a big test for whether or not you're a common sense independent, libertarian, or conservative. How do you answer that question? The Alaska Dispatch News has one half of this debate, as they always have one half of the debate. They're never going to give you the full debate. Will Alaska politicians have the courage to address the need to increase revenues? Time for you to pony up. You've been living high in the hog for a long time, Alaskans. People need that money more than you do, and it's time for you to start paying their bills. See, this is probably the first time. Well, I don't know if it's the first time. In the late 90s, we were in fairly dire straits. I think oil averaged, everybody always talks about oil went down to $9 a barrel. Okay, it didn't stay there for a whole year. I think the average, the lowest average it was at was something like $18 a barrel. If you can imagine that. If you can imagine that. Well, it's nowhere near $18 a barrel, although it's about 60 right now. Unfortunately, the state needs about 117, something like that, in order to balance its books. We're not going back there. I don't think we're going back there ever again. Because with shale oil, Saudi Arabia sees one thing. They can't compete. Saudi Arabia cannot compete with shale oil at $100 a barrel. Those two things cannot be done. So you got two sides of this, and I heard one from a very conservative politician who, he didn't give me his permission to give his name out. He's going to be asking all the politicians, will you sign a pledge that says I will not increase taxes, either on the people or on industry, before I look at our spending problem? That, as opposed to the Alaska Dispatch's position given by Roger Painter, will Alaska politicians have the courage to address the need to increase revenues? Dan's in at 7. You're listening to Fagan and Biegel on KOAN, KVNT, 569, 1080. Love to hear from you.
Join the conversation. KOAN.
It's the year-end Gotta Go sale going on now at Giant Worthington Ford. With new models pouring in daily, the old ones gotta go.
And because we've got to make room, you can save a lot of money on your next car, truck, or SUV.
Choose from over 1,000 vehicles for just $95 down.
And if you're looking for low payments, we can help with that too.
Don't forget, we have our own finance company. We can finance anyone we want to. Here's a Ford Fusion, just $14,900.
That's all-wheel drive.
Here's a Ford Escape, just $12,900.
And that's a 4x4. And test drive this Jeep Liberty 4x4. It's just $15,900. And a Kia Sportage 4x4 for $16,900.
With the 2015s pouring in daily, the old ones gotta go. It's the year-end Gotta Go sale going on now at Giant Worthington Ford.
2012 Fusion Q1966, 2010 Escape Q1693, 2012 Liberty Q1910, 2012 Sportage Q2359. Unapproved credit, subject to prior sales. See dealer for details. Ends 1/8/2015.
The Alaskan defender of family, firearms, and the freedom of speech, Eddie Burke.
I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care who you're married to. I don't care what goes on in your private life. The only thing I care about is how you're going to vote, because that's the only thing that affects me.
Eddie Burke and Friends on Hot Talk, KOAN, 95.1 FM, 1080 AM.
Hi, this is Brian Stan. I was a Marine Corps officer before becoming a UFC fighter. Military experience can add greatly to your life, as it has mine. The Air Force Reserve offers many part-time jobs in Alaska, which will allow you to continue your civilian career at the same time. You'll receive excellent training, educational assistance, and many other benefits. Join an outstanding team in the Air Force Reserve. For more information on the Air Force Reserve, go to afreserve.com.
This message is sponsored by the Air Force Reserve and aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this local station.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080koan.com.
6:47 a.m., 569-1080, Fagan and Biegel. Dan will be in at 7. Glen Biegel here, and you are listening to what we are terming a tsunami of conservatism, a volcano of information, and a roller coaster of entertainment. Love to hear from you. 569-1080. We stream live at danfagan.us, and also there's a TuneIn app, I'm told. And if you do want to listen, like in your office or wherever, and you can stream, the audio stream is fairly small in size.
What we really ask is that you help those less fortunate than you who can't figure that out on their own.
Oh, yeah, and give streaming advice.
Tell your friends, help the old people.
To everyone else. A great suggestion, Brian, there, also known as Brain, which you now know why.
Now I'm living up to it.
Now you know why. A huge question for Alaska, and it is put in the Alaska Dispatch News by Roger Painter, who is just somebody who's writing, somebody on the left. Will Alaska politicians have the courage to address the need to increase revenues? Can we let them establish that they need to increase revenues first? How do you know how much waste there is in the state government? I will just tell you this. We are between a rock and a hard place. If oil stays this low, which I expect it to. I went to a presentation by somebody from Scotiabank who helps essentially the market determine what they think oil prices will be in the future. They don't climb above $75 a barrel for the next 3 years. That's long term. And I honestly don't think they climb above $70 a barrel for a long period of time, because Saudi Arabia now knows that they can't compete with shale oil in the United States. We went from pumping 6 million barrels a day to pumping 11 million barrels a day, and it's very possible, especially if Alaska opens up her oil resources, that the United States could pump 20 million barrels a day. Even at 11 million barrels, we are the #1 oil producer in the world. At 20 million barrels a day, we would double the next largest. Now, compared to Saudi Arabia, our oil resources are not all that big. If you include shale, and depending on how much you can get out of it and what price you keep the oil at. But anyway, back to reality, back to the state of Alaska. It largely has to do with oil. Here's the one thing you have to know. We can't possibly pay enough in taxes for us to keep the government going as it is. We can't do it. It's not possible. So what I think that they've been working on for a long period of time, the Alaska Dispatch News, Alice Rogoff's organization, what I think they've been working on for a long period of time is to get people ready to take earnings from the permanent fund. They're not going to take the permanent fund. They're not going to take the corpus. The process that we go through is the permanent fund is invested in the markets. The earnings from the permanent fund come back, and I don't even know if they're paper or not paper. We record them as income in some fashion every year. They want to take the earnings from the permanent fund. Now, your dividend is dependent on 5-year average of how much money basically we make. So if they took 1 year of it, like let's just say next year it earned, I don't know, $3 billion, and they took $2 billion of that to use for to put into state government. 5 years from now, your dividend check, well, actually next year it will start to decline, but 5 years from now, your dividend check will be 1/3 of the normal size, right? Because they took 2/3 of that. A lot of conservatives are going, yay, that's okay with me. Not me. I realize that I disagree with some other conservatives on this, but I like the permanent fund for one reason. And I'll ask you this question. This is an honest question. If our legislators had access to the money that has gone in and created the permanent fund, would they have spent it? In other words, if we didn't have the permanent fund, would we have nothing to show for it? That's my question. Now you may say, well, I don't really like the permanent fund dividend check. And I like the permanent fund dividend check because I think it's something like, I don't know, 15% of people's income. Now, a lot of people who, they make regular living, you know, they're making plenty of money. A lot of people in the state of Alaska don't work all that much. And their permanent fund for their family is a big part of their income. Good, bad, or indifferent. That's just the way it is. So it makes a big difference for our economy here. Will politicians have the courage to increase revenues? Will conservatives let their politicians know that they want them to sign a pledge, which I have heard is roaming around or will be roaming around Juneau? Are you going to get involved to help your politician know, I want you to sign the pledge? I don't want to see any suggestions for revenue increases or new taxes until we deal with our spending problem. And what is our spending problem, by the way? Duplication and waste. Too many people getting subsidies. Too many people having more money than the average family who does work, getting supplemental nutrition assistance, right, food stamps. They get more money than your family does. Well, that doesn't make any sense. You know, it doesn't cost that much to make a bologna sandwich or ramen. You say, and I guess the left's argument is what? What is the left's argument? My argument is, if you didn't earn it, it's not yours. I don't want you to keep getting a whole bunch of money in food stamps unless you earned it. You know, this is not trying to keep you with better food than I have, having worked for a living. This is just trying to keep you alive until you figure out, you know what? Gosh, I guess I should have gotten that. I should have gotten that training. I should have gotten that certificate. I can't live like this. This is wrong. It's bad for me. It's bad for my family. That's what I want you to learn. How are you going to learn that if you're eating better than I do, if you have more steak than I do? I don't think you're going to learn that. So now the left will try and be on both sides of this. And they'll say, well, yeah, we do want people to learn that. So we put in place this requirement that they go out and that they ask, you know, I mean, they have to go through a whole bunch of hoops to try and make sure that they're doing the right thing. Ha, 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 ha. You're still giving them more money per capita, per person in their family than I spend on my family's food, which means they eat better than I do. Is that just? Ooh, is that social justice? How about that, Brian? Ooh, that's got him. That's got him by the short hairs. You're listening to Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Dan will be in just a few minutes. My name is Glen Biegel, one of the leading conservatives in the state of Alaska, and it's my pleasure to be so. I do wonder where the rest of the conservatives are out there. You know what I think you got to do? You got to get off the duff. This is the new year. It's time for us. Look, we got a lot of arguments that are going to happen in the state of Alaska. And the Dispatch puts it right in front of your face. Will Alaska politicians have the courage to address the need to increase revenues? They're coming after you. They're coming after me. They're coming after your dividend. They're coming after your sales tax, your property tax. They're coming after an income tax. They don't want to cut government at all. Good things happen from government for people on the left. For conservatives, they happen through community organizations, Salvation Armies, Catholic social services. That's where good things happen. Not through SNAP programs, food stamps that pay people more than the average struggling family puts into their own food budget. That's not where good things happen. Big question. Will conservatives, I get this strange sense that conservatives are a little bit tired. You shouldn't be tired. We should be awake, alive. Should we complain about the inaugural balls for the governor, Brian?
What's that?
Should we complain about the inaugural balls for the governor?
Yeah, they shouldn't have so many.
Oh, you don't think
They
so?
shouldn't. I don't think they should have any.
All right, so what do we got? Juneau, January 10th, January 17th in Nome, January 24th in Fairbanks, January 31st in Anchorage, February 6th in Wasilla, March 7th in Ketchikan, and one in Kenai to be scheduled later. I think they had their first inaugural ball and that just occurred. I don't know. Look, they won a party. They won. And that's their right. We've always done these inaugural balls, for better or for worse. A lot of hobnobbing going on. I'm sure there shouldn't be that many. People are going to be so surprised at how dramatically the state can change in a very short period of time. Things that people last year would have claimed cannot possibly happen are going to be happening by the dozens. Dozens of things are going to change. And I think it's going to be really good for the state. Look, congratulations to Governor Walker and his Lieutenant Governor, Byron Malott, for winning office. Have a good time on your inaugural balls. You're going to need that energy because we got a lot of work to do. You're listening to Fagan and Biegel in the morning, KOAN, KVNT. Up next, Dan will be in with us, 6:58 a.m., 569-1080. That's the number. Stay tuned.
Traffic jam. A stifling halt to your thrilling drive. But in a redesigned 2015 Mercedes-Benz C-Class, that interruption is at least tolerable. With the most luxurious interior in its class and an innovative touchpad, the all-new 2015 C-Class is as exciting to experience standing still as it is in motion. And with its improved acceleration power, your state of comfort continues, knowing you'll make it to your destination on time. To your authorized dealer and see the world differently in a C-Class from Mercedes-Benz. Get the 2015 C300 4MATIC starting at just $40,400. Test drive one today.
MSRP for a 2015 C300 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
KOAN Anchorage. It's not just talk, it's hot talk. 95.1 FM, 1080 AM.
Bombings, that killed 3 people and injured more than 260. Jury selection's underway.
It's going to be painful, of course, to relive something so traumatic.
We go live now to the federal courthouse in Boston. Fox News Radio's Bill Marcus is there.
Dave, Joe Garshonaya fiddled with his collar as Judge George O'Toole spoke to the first group of 200 jurors who will decide his fate. He accused Boston Marathon bomber wearing a black sweater and khaki pants. He was not handcuffed. Judge O'Toole ordering the prospective jurors that if they discuss the case before he tells them to, they could be punished with contempt of court. Over the next 3 days, 5 other groups of 200 will hear the same speech. O'Toole saying he expects lawyers will present their opening arguments 3 weeks from today, and for the trial to last 3 to 4 months. Dave?
Bill, the search is on for a baby killer in California the day after she was found dead in a San Diego County dumpster.
The 3-week-old girl had been declared missing on Saturday evening when police went to her home after getting a call about a shooting at a home in Long Beach. Her parents and an uncle were hurt in that shooting. Long Beach police say a motive is unknown, but detectives don't think the shooting was a random act.
That's Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers. It is snowy across the northern U.S. Winter storm warnings from Washington State to Illinois. And it's an ice box in many areas. 8 below zero now in Bismarck, North Dakota. The wind chill is 25 below in Minneapolis, where Michael Fratelloni owns a hardware store.
Space heaters have just been flying out the door. Sometimes your home can be warm enough, but there's certain spaces in your home or in your office that are just frigid.
And that cold air is going to move south and east later this week. It is ugly on Wall Street as oil plunges another $2 a barrel to near 50. A big sell-off. The Dow is down 230 points. This is Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
As a retired teacher, I look for ways to save money for the things I love, like traveling the world. Medicare plans change each year. Fortunately, my HealthMart pharmacist helped me understand my insurance, saving me money on prescriptions. And they can help you, too. My pharmacist cares about my health and the things I love, whatever that might be.
HealthMart, caring for you and about you. Visit healthmart.com for the locally owned pharmacy near you.
Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost you thousands. The Quicken Loans PMI Advantage is our lender-paid mortgage insurance program. You see, we pay the PMI so you don't have to. PMI Advantage can give you more options, more flexibility, and may save you thousands when you refinance. To learn more, call us at 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN, or visit us at QuickenLoans.com.
Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
2 states are getting new governors today. Doug Ducey will be sworn in Arizona. Matt Mead will take over the job in Wyoming. Both
from our police and firefighters to our first-line responders, from our schools to our hospitals, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, the Alaska Police and Fire Chaplains Ministries is here for you. Please be here for us by donating part of your PFD when it matters. Pick, click, give for Alaska Police and Fire Chaplains Ministries today.
When you pick, click, give with the Alaska Zoo in mind, you're picking animals that have been injured or orphaned in the wild and now have a second chance at life. You're clicking for education for students near and far, and you're giving to everyone who visits and is awed by polar bears swimming and wolves howling.
Pick, click, give is here. It's your chance to start something big. Big Brothers Big Sisters helps children realize their potential and build great futures. We put children on the path to success, strengthening our communities, and we couldn't do any of it without you. Please support Big Brothers Big Sisters today and pick, click, give.
You're running your business, and we at Wix.com know things can get stressful, but creating your website doesn't have to be. With Wix, you can create a professional website all by yourself. It's easy and free. You don't have to be a programmer. Just drag and drop everything into place. It's your website, your style. Show the world what you can do. Go to Wix.com and create your own stunning website today. It's easy and free.
When I grow up,
I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything, from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Happy holidays from Specialty Truck and Auto. Please help me make sure our military members know how much you're appreciated this holiday season. While you're out Christmas shopping or celebrating with family and friends, join me in shaking the hand of a military member and give a heartfelt thank you each and every chance you get. If you happen to see a military member out enjoying a meal, you might consider quietly paying for their meal as a sign of your gratitude for the sacrifices they make for each of us every day, which allows each of us the freedom to celebrate this holiday season in whatever fashion we choose. Thank you from Specialty Truck and Auto.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. AOAN.
Well, good morning to you. Here it is, 7:06 in the morning on the 5th day of January, 2014. Fagan Biegel in the morning, broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT, also streaming live, danfagan.us. I'm happy to report to you today that the temperature currently in Anchorage is 4. 4 degrees.
But not a -4.
No. That would be unbearable. 4 degrees is the temperature today. The high today, 17.
Probably late in the day. Sounds like there's gonna be a warming trend.
I'm not a meteorologist, but 17 seems much more like a low temperature than a high temperature.
What should be? Yes.
This is the Alaska winters I remember. This is the pain, the agony, the burning lungs as you rush to your car.
Mm-hmm.
This is Alaska as I recall it.
Yeah. Now, are we not calling what you're wearing right now a jacket?
This is not a jacket.
And you're not going to give in on that?
It is a fleece vest.
Okay.
Brian, do you disagree with that?
What, your
is
fleece
this a jacket?
It's a jacket.
A fleece jacket.
A jacket has like puffiness to it.
A vest doesn't have sleeves.
Well, I'll cut the sleeves off then. If I cut the sleeves off,
that's a fleece jacket.
Yeah, then you would have a fleece vest. I agree with that. It's a good point.
True.
You're not going to cut the
but I wouldn't,
things off there.
You could cut the sleeves off, put them on your legs.
I'll go in the break room right now and do it.
Let's just open the window in there.
I vote no.
Well, it's the bad news is it's 5. The good news is we're rolling along pretty good here. We're already into January. And let's face it, October, November, December was not bad at all, weather-wise.
I love it. I love this weather. If we could keep
this weather.
I like the weather that we've been having
not
this winter.
weather.
No, not this cold.
Yes. I totally agree. I totally agree with you. Yeah,
I'm 100% behind global warming. I'm all for it.
Yeah, this weather is clearly much the weather we've had is much better. 569-1080 is our number. 569-1080. Amanda Coyne, she's got her top predictions for 2015. Did you see this?
Yes, I did. Of course, I did.
Very interesting. I'll tell you there's a story brewing here, Glenn. And I talked to Amanda last night for quite a bit about this. There's something to this story that is just, it doesn't pass the smell test. I'm not saying there's corruption. I'm not saying there's bad motives here, but there's something, and it's this Bill Walker suing the state, and yet he's still governor, and yet he's still plaintiff. You got a guy who's governor of the state of Alaska as a plaintiff suing the state of Alaska.
Where are we going to go with it? Yeah, I agree. And so if I understand, you're talking about a lawsuit that he opened up that said that public policy was not followed or something like that. The law wasn't followed.
No.
For
that's not what he
the
said.
leases on
No. What he
Top.
said was this is the most corrupt
back
in
room
the history of Alaska.
Deal. Yeah.
Now he Walker has not dropped the suit, according to Coyne, and is in no hurry to remove himself, according to Walker's spokesperson, Grace Jang.
And he said he would remove himself. I think that's basically.
I didn't remember him saying that. Did he say that?
Well, this is what Amanda Coyne writes right at the opening part of her. She said she was in the discussion with you.
Oh, yes, at the debate.
At the debate, and she asked him.
Yeah, he said he would drop the suit. You're right.
Yeah, and so
I
now
should have remembered that scene how I was a moderator.
Now he says that he won't.
Yes.
And it's I guess it's difficult. He sees what's his conflict here. Why wouldn't he drop this suit?
Well, he should certainly remove himself as plaintiff.
If he did that
yourself, right?
I guess that Parnell would still be the plaintiff, but really, you're right. I mean, he is essentially suing the state of the government, and he's the head of the state government.
The background is the Department of Natural Resources reached a settlement with Exxon to develop Point Thompson.
Amen.
Now it's the reason the pipeline has progressed to the place that it has.
Mm-hmm. $4 billion of investment in order to get all of the infrastructure run all the way to the east side of the North Slope.
Are currently producing 10,000 barrels out of Point Thompson. If they don't increase that, they're going to start to lose acreage. Exxon will, which is a pretty big deal. Now, recently they gave Lieutenant Governor Byron Mallott the authority to decide if Walker's prior litigation against the state when he was a private attorney should preclude him from making decisions about those cases now that he's governor. Walker specifically mentioned giving Mallott decision-making power over whether or not Walker should be involved in the Point Thompson deal.
Are we to make of that Byron Mallott says, okay, well, this is not a conflict of interest, so you can keep going with this?
Well, Mallott hasn't said anything yet. They
I see.
Gave him this authority. Walker and Richards filed a substitute of counsel motion on December 16th. The Supreme Court granted him the motion. The lawyer for the case is now Robin Brenna at Bill Walker's law firm.
Oh, yeah.
And, of course, Craig Richards' law firm, too. And Craig Richards is now the Attorney General.
I wonder why Mallott? Why would he give Mallott that authority? I'm thinking it's political.
Well, sure.
That this is a political move because Byron Mallott is supposed to be the representative of natives.
Yeah.
And so if you sew together the people who dislike the oil industry or they don't like profits in the state of Alaska or whatever with the native community, then essentially you have a governing majority.
Yeah.
However you work it out. And so is that why? Because I've never heard of anybody doing this. This is a first, right?
Well, I think he had to. He can't sue himself. He has to hand it over to Mallott. But
he's still a plaintiff, though.
He is.
Okay.
That's the curious part. Let me give you Walker's quote in the statement. This is just recently. I filed this as a public interest litigant. The deal was illegal then. It's illegal now. I'm exploring procedural options to substitute myself out with a potential new plaintiff. There's no immediate hurry. I want to make sure the right thing is done in the interest of the people of the state of Alaska. This has nothing to do with stopping current activity on Point Thompson. Now, I would like at this point to report to you something that I don't know.
All right.
I believe this has everything to do with stopping current activity on Point Thompson. My speculation is, and please hear the word speculation, that Mr. Walker, who has dedicated his entire existence on this planet, every minute, every day of every week of every month, every month of every year, to building a state-owned pipeline. That's what this lawsuit in the beginning was about. Parnell thinks the producer should control the pipeline. Walker thinks the state should. And it is my opinion, based on very strong evidence, that that's what this is all about.
This strengthens his hand to try and force the companies to do something he wants them to do, or?
Well, he's got Alex Rogoff backing him up.
Oh, yeah. No, that's a big ally there.
He could sabotage the deal. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. 7:15.
Big ally there.
He could sabotage the deal. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. 7:15.
You're on with 5.
Giant Worthington Ford with new models pouring in daily. From over 1,000 vehicles for just $95 down.
And if you're looking for low payments, we can help with that too.
Don't forget, we have our own finance company. We can finance anyone we want to. Here's a Ford Fusion, just $14,900.
That's all-wheel drive.
Here's a Ford Escape, just $12,900.
And that's a 4x4. And test drive this Jeep Liberty 4x4. It's just $15,900. And a Kia Sportage 4x4 for $16,900.
With the 2015s pouring in daily, the old ones gotta go. It's the year-end gotta go sale going on now at Giant Worthington Ford.
2012 Fusion Q1966, 2010 Escape Q1693, 2012 Liberty Q1910, 2012 Sportage Q2359. Unapproved credit, subject to prior sales. See dealer for details. Ends 1/8/2015.
The choice of funeral homes is often based on the recommendation of someone trusted, friends, clergy, or family. They recommend who they feel is the best. Hi folks, I'm Scott Jansen, owner of Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Eagle River Funeral Home, and Alaska Cremation Center. I'm also a two-time Iditarod finisher, known these days as the Mush and Mortician. We hear from many families we have served that they chose Evergreen based on the experience of someone close to them. What better compliment could a funeral home receive? We value the trust families have placed in us and have earned a reputation of providing those we serve the most comfortable facilities, professional staffing, service options, and merchandise available. When you need to choose a funeral home or crematory, choose a locally owned Jansen Funeral Home, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home, or Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, where, just like family, we're there when you need us.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
Choose a locally owned Jansen Funeral Home, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home, or Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, where, just like family, we're there when you need us.
7:17 in the morning. Good morning to you on Fagan Biegel in the morning on KOAN, KVNT, streaming live on danfagan.us, both video and audio. Glad you're with us this morning. Our number 569-1080. We're talking about Bill Walker, the governor, suing himself. Seems like an odd thing to do. Walker, as most of you know, filed a lawsuit calling the agreement between Exxon and Point Thompson, the agreement to develop it, one of the most corrupt things ever in the history of Alaska. I'll read you his quote recently. I filed this as a public interest litigant. The deal was illegal now, or then it's illegal now. I'm exploring procedural options to substitute myself out with a potential new plaintiff. There's no immediate hurry. I want to make sure the right thing is done, and in the interest of the people of the state of Alaska, this has nothing to do with stopping current activity on Point Thompson. I would suggest, and I'm speculating, I'm not reporting to you what I know, I'm speculating. I would suggest this has everything to do with current activity stopping on Point Thompson. Governor Bill Walker has dedicated his entire life, every minute of it, every waking moment of it. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but close. To making sure that the state builds and owns the gas pipeline. Wally Hickle has said on my broadcast many times, the worst thing that ever happened to the state of Alaska is we let the oil companies produce and own and operate the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. And Bill Walker, school of Wally Hickle. And this gas line, Mr. Walker, I'm sure and sincerely believes this, Glen. I'm sure he's very honest and sincere that the state must own and control the line. And he doesn't need the producers to own it for them to be involved in it. I'm sure he sincerely believes that. But that's where we are, and I wish we'd get some transparency on that.
But now, how did Hickle think we didn't have any money back then?
Yeah.
How would we have built the line? I think it cost $7 or $8 billion.
Wall Street. You know, we'd be the line made sense. We'd invest in it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we would have been able to get financing in order to build the line. Then we would have owned the line.
Yeah.
I guess so. Right now they pay taxes on the line.
Oil companies.
Oil companies do, so we wouldn't get the taxes. I guess I still think the Alaska Pipeline Company would probably run the line because we wouldn't want that to be a state-run organization. So
We contracted out all.
yeah, they probably would. So I'm not sure what difference. What difference did he think it would make?
Whether we'd get all the revenue from operating the line.
What revenue from operating the line? What do you mean?
Well, the amount of money that the Alaska Pipeline makes money, the company.
Yeah, a little, I guess.
Apparently over the lifetime of the pipeline, it adds up.
Probably, I guess so. Yeah. So maybe we would have made another $10 billion. We got 80. What did we get out of the oil company so far? Like, was it 100 billion or something?
Revenue directly to state coffers. Oh, it's well over 100 billion now.
Okay, so and we would have got maybe another 10.
Oh, I don't know.
But why is that the biggest mistake in the history of the state of Alaska?
Well,
I mean, I guess I don't really understand that. Maybe I'm wrong here.
Yeah, I don't know the revenue that we would have received. Well, I suppose we could have charged more than that because the Alaska Pipeline Company is the three producers.
Right.
They're all one.
They all own shares in the Alaska Pipeline.
If we owned the company,
yeah,
we wouldn't have. We could do what we want with the producers. We could charge them more. We could raise the prices. We could make a lot more money. The Alaska Pipeline Company is not about making money. They're about facilitating the producers getting the oil through the pipeline. But if we as a state had the opportunity to own the pipeline,
so we could have raised prices even higher and made it harder to do business in the state of Alaska than is already going on.
And Hickel and Bob Lester and Bill Walker and Malcolm Roberts and the Backbone Bunch operates from the premise, Glenn, that there's nothing we can do to deter investment from the oil companies. Literally.
Well, that's stupid.
We can walk into the CEO's office and shoot him in the head.
Right.
And they'll bring another guy in.
They'll still be here. Now, I would have thought that this is what they've always wanted because this is what I thought they always had a problem with, and that's Bob Lester and Bill Walker and
let me get to the core because when you talk about Bob Lester, you're talking about a puppet of Vince Beltrami.
Okay.
It's always been about the unions, these guys. When the state owns the pipeline, every single employee will be union. That's what it's always been about.
Okay. What I always thought it was about was access for the not big three, of being able for the state of Alaska to essentially allow other people to be able to put oil in the pipeline. That was always my thought.
Of denying access to other
having nothing to do with how much money we get or who got hired and that kind of stuff.
That could be part of it.
I'm not saying that Vince Beltrami doesn't have massive amounts of power. He's the head of AFL-CIO here.
Right. And the head of the Unity ticket.
Yeah, he was the guy who inspired the Unity ticket in many ways. It looks like
he bought.
He funded it.
He didn't inspire it. He inspired them with his cash.
With his cash.
He said, "I will not give money to either Malott or Walker unless they join forces and become Unity ticket." And they said, "Yes, sir, Mr. Beltrami, we'd love to have your cash."
But I always thought that the reason that they wanted that Hickel wanted the state to own the pipeline wasn't for money and it wasn't for union jobs, that it was for other producers to be able to get access to the line, which we now have 6 producers.
Right.
And we will soon have 7 on the North Slope.
Well, that's the
so
point.
The problem is we didn't need to own the line. Yeah. All of a sudden we have 6 or 7 producers. So the main thing that they wanted, I don't even think is really an issue anymore. I'm not sure what the deal is now.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
That's a big change, by the way, to have Repsol and NE and ENI. I think that's the way you pronounce that. I don't remember the rest of the groups that are up there, but look, Hillcorp, of course, that's a big one, who just bought BP's assets up there, and there's another one as well. We have lots of people getting access to the pipeline across the state of Alaska. So I think the main reason why they did this, so it could be the reason that they did want to do it now is maybe they want more money out of it. But if you charge people more money, all you're doing is raising the cost of doing business in Alaska, which I don't think is good.
As I've said before, Bill Walker's not anti-oil, but he's rabidly anti-producer.
The big 3.
It's about control. It's not being pushed around by Exxon, BP, and Conoco.
That's what I've always thought.
That's what he's, when he calls this the most corrupt deal in Alaska's history, it's because we gave Exxon a competitive environment to operate within. And that's not what he's about. Now, this is my opinion. I could be wrong, and we'll find out. But what I would say to the listener is be suspicious. Be suspicious if this thing falls apart.
How will we know,
why
by the way?
It fell apart?
What is it?
I
So
don't
we'll know.
We will.
Okay, so no, you don't know that we'll ever know.
No, because the oil companies will never come out against the government. They're terrified.
Well, they should be.
Yes, it should be. You're right.
The government has the right to destroy and take everything that as soon as 50% plus one of the people say, you know what, oil industry, we're not looking for win-win. We're looking for we win, you lose, and we're going to take everything you've got. As soon as you got 50% plus one, you should be absolutely terrified of the people of the state of Alaska.
Even if the pipeline deal falls apart, and the oil companies understand totally that it's because Bill Walker sabotaged it because he wants Vince Beltrami to build it. They're not going to say anything because there's so many other ways the state of Alaska can hurt the oil companies.
Now, I always thought Vince Beltrami was in like Flynn anyway, even with Parnell. That I had heard that they were working on a project labor agreement to build a pipeline anyway.
Well, he of course wants a project labor agreement, but no, Vince Beltrami's in the heart of Backbone more than anybody. I mean, the Backbone people is we build the line, we own the line, we control the line. And by the way, when Walker says 52%, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You don't have to own 100% of the line.
No, as soon as you control any part of the critical,
You're in total
infrastructure,
control.
you're in total control of anything because you can just say, well, this is the way things are going to be.
And to this day, Mr. Walker has yet to back down on the 52%. Correct?
I don't know that. I don't know. I've heard from different people that he says, I'm not going to break this deal.
Yeah.
But he's always said, I want to own 52. And then I thought he said somewhere in the media, but I don't know that I've been able to find it, that the 52% we will only do if someone else removes themselves.
He has said.
Oh, he had.
You never know.
So that's where he is right now, publicly on the air. That is his official position.
Unless another investor pulls out.
Okay.
But if he breaks the deal with Exxon will pull out.
Well,
I don't the Point Thompson deal.
I'd be shocked. See, this is what I don't get. If you stop activity on Point Thompson, you're going to delay the pipeline, and we don't have the money to build the pipeline. We don't have the money to build the processing plants. We don't have the money to build the pipeline. Even the 52%, we weren't going to be able to come up with the money for. So I'm not sure exactly what his plan is. I would like to know. I think that he wants to use this lawsuit as leverage in a political sense, which I'm not really sure is legal. So if that's not legal, I hope that he's not doing something that's illegal. I mean, because that sounds like extortion, but I know that this is sort of, there are legal ways to essentially force people to do what you want them to do,
well,
too.
You've got Craig Richards, Robin Brenna, and Bill Walker. Bill Walker and Craig Richards are partners in a law firm. They sell the law firm to Robin Brenna. Robin Brenna will continue the suit.
And they'll work the oil industry from both sides, but I would be shocked. I don't understand why he would want, if this is a good deal for Alaska, and it's a good deal and a good possibility to get this gas line, and Alaska doesn't have the money to build any part of this, I would think he's looking for leverage, not to shut down production. But I don't know. I guess it depends on whether or not he thinks they're on his side and they're going to do it.
Here's what Amanda writes. The field sat underdeveloped for decades. Over the years, the state has gone as far as to try to yank Exxon leases. Since the settlement, as of April, Exxon has spent roughly $2 billion developing it. Is expected to produce 10,000 barrels a day of liquids by 2016. The field contains a quarter of the North Slope's known natural gas reserves and expected to be pivotal in building the diameter and gas line. If Walker prevails, the project could be put on hold. That a sitting governor would be suing the state might not be unprecedented, but it's certainly unusual and could lend itself to questions about conflict of interest. For instance, in such cases, partial attorney fees might be granted to whomever wins the case. If Walker prevails, will he accept those fees for work that he's done and for work that Brenna will do? If the state wins, who will pay, Walker or Brenna? 729. 729.
And now,
falling oil prices. At around 11 a.m. Eastern, the Dow Industrials are down 208 points. Chevron and ExxonMobil are the biggest drags on the blue chips. The major automakers are out with their U.S. sales for December. Fiat Chrysler says sales rose month compared to a year ago. GM sales were up 19%, while Ford's were up 1%. Industry executives and analysts cautioned that growth will slow down this year after 5 years of rapid recovery from the recession. And American Airlines and its pilots union have reached an agreement on a labor deal. The proposed 5-year contract will boost pay by more than 26% and offer smaller raises in later years. Now it's up to the pilots to vote on the agreement. Shares of American Airlines Group are trading lower, down more than 0.5% in step with the broader market. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jolene Kent.
Not available in California, New York, or Virginia.
Listeners, do you have startup capital and want to invest in a business with incredible profit potential? Fresh Healthy Vending, the #1 healthy vending franchise in North America, is growing fast, and we're looking for people right here in the local area to become Fresh Healthy Vending franchise. Business continue to boom. If this sounds like you, we'll send you a free owner information kit. As an added bonus to new franchise owners, we'll also pay half the franchise fees. Just go to readyforfresh.com and enter code 2000. That's readyforfresh.com, code 2000.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Residents of the western Alaska community of White Mountain are reeling from the New Year's Day murder of the city utility manager in an alleged case of deadly domestic violence. 40-year-old mother of 2 Esther Lincoln was found strangled in her home on Thursday. Her live-in boyfriend, 31-year-old Gilbert Olana, is being held in the case. Anchorage had its lowest homicide rate in 2 decades in 2014. As we hear from Ann Kenda.
The homicide total for Anchorage for 2014 was either 13 or 14. Since one death is still under investigation to see whether it will be classified as homicide. Victims died in separate incidents from January 7th through October 15th and ranged in age from 15 to 64. 2 cases remain unsolved. 2014's rate is better than previous years, which averaged more than 20 homicides since 1991.
That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Cool day today with clouds and sun, high of 11. Then mainly clear and cold tonight with a low 4 below 0. Cool day with clouds and sun tomorrow, high 15 and a low tomorrow night of 10. Then a rather cloudy day Wednesday with a high 21. Mostly cloudy and warmer for Thursday, high 31, then remaining mostly cloudy Friday, high 32. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Make your dollar stretch with Sicily's first ever BOGO special. Buy one, get one half price. Save 50% off pizza, calzone, pasta, salad, chicken wings, and everything else on the Sicily's menu.
When I buy a pizza, can I have wings at half price?
Yes.
Can I save 50% off pasta if I buy a calzone?
Yes, you can save 50% off everything on the menu. If you want a great deal, call Sicily's 333-8000 and ask for the Sicily's BOGO special. 50% off everything on the menu. That's 333-8000 or order online at SicilysPizza.com. Discounted item must be of equal or lesser value. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Why is A&A the independent Subaru specialist. How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. They offer the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
I thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist with Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Stay warm, shop smart, shop local. Choose the Amana experts right here in the Mat-Su. Act now and receive a free duct cleaning with the purchase of any Amana furnace by Connect Heating.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning.
$7:36 Monday morning, January 5th. 5 degrees outside. Good morning to you. Whew. Enjoy the beautiful weather. We're on KOAN, KVNT, streaming live, danfagan.us. Our number 569-1080. 569-1080. If your mother tells you this morning to wear a coat, I would suggest this of all mornings you listen to her.
Or a fleece vest.
Or a fleece coat.
A sleeved fleece vest.
Sleeved fleece vest. 569-1080. 569-1080. That's the number. We'd love to hear from you this morning if you're out and about anywhere on the roadways, see any problems, anything like that. Or if you just want to chat about anything that's on your mind, we'd love to take your phone call. 569-1080. Let's go to Joe. Joe, what's going on, man?
Thank you, Dan. Hello, Glenn.
Hello.
Oh, not much. Just noticed a little frost on my door latch this morning.
Ooh, cold.
On the inside of your door?
Yeah, I got a little bit of an air leak there. But that's good because I need a little fresh air in this place anyway. But a far cry from the back in the days of Mucktuck Marston mushing the mail routes at a minus 68 below.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those days are long gone.
Thank
yeah.
goodness.
You enjoy the global warming, where I think it's weather is what we're supposed to call it, but
I'm actually went down to Moose Pass on Saturday, and there's virtually no snow, and there's only a skiff of ice on Trail Lake, and I'm waiting for that lake to freeze up so I can get my snow machine out there and get put the sled on it and get firewood, right? Mm-hmm. Well, everybody's talking about the weather down there. It's just third generation Alaskan I am, and no, this has never happened before.
You know, I used to have a guy in Moose Pass who used to send me threatening emails telling me that if he ever saw me in Moose Pass, he was going to kick my ass and how much he hated me. That wasn't you, was it, Joe?
No, because I that's just something I would not do. What was it about?
They just didn't like my views, my worldview.
Well, you are a polarizing person, but some people don't know how to handle it, and they think that people from the lower 48 shouldn't be up here, and I don't know who it could possibly be. But the thing is it is the global warming is a thing that is caused by overpopulation of humans and in industry. It's scientific fact, and everybody's on board except for a few.
Except for that crazy Glen Biegel.
But, you know, you guys are talking about big oil producers and gas, and to realize, guys, is the modernization of the state of Alaska and its resources. There's not 3 big oil producers out there. There's 4. And the state of Alaska is an oil producer and is a gas producer, and Bill Walker's our CEO. And that's just the way things are going to be, and it's not going to change. We got to move along.
Well, we're not yet, but that's where he wants to take us. Is my suspicion.
Well,
is it all right if I'm scared by that, Joe? Is it all right if I'm frightened by that idea that we're going to sit in the boardrooms of these corporations and tell them where they will or won't invest?
You shouldn't be afraid of that. You should be jubilous about it.
I don't like government, Joe. I don't like government in virtually any form. I don't need government. I don't want government.
If it wasn't for government, you wouldn't be here. Socialism.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean? If it wasn't for government, did government go to my mom and dad and say, "Hey"?
We'll just call government socialism because that's what it is. And the thing is with the increase of population, then that's where socialism comes in. To deal with a huge population of people in this world, you got to have some organization. Or otherwise, everybody would be at each other's throats, stepping on each other's toes, and oil in my fish pond. And it's just,
well, look, this is a canard, Joe. What you're saying is, I don't want any government. And what I'm saying is, I don't want too much government or people to eat better than I do who are on food stamps. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Now, I am a conservative that thinks that a business owner, small or big, is just as important of an entity as a government worker. And I don't like to see in recession the small businesses and whatnot in the private sector get hit with taxes. And that's exactly, and this is why I'm not a Democrat, guys. As soon as a recession hits, Democrats want to find ways to suck money out of the individual again.
I want you to address the specific point of overpopulation. And you said overpopulation is the problem, and that's what's causing the climate change?
Based on Stanford University's Dr. Paul Ehrlich's scientific findings, his team of scientists have found that the world's overpopulated by 4 billion people.
And so what do you want to do about that?
Well, there's nothing that politics can do about that.
What do you want to do about it?
If I had my way, I would say 1 or 2 kids. And I don't want to step on Glen. I know he's got 988 kids.
Okay, so how would you implement that policy?
Just like China did.
So that you'd have to kill the baby. If any baby past 1 or 2, you'd have to kill the baby?
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the government killing the baby. It'd be the perpetrator who created the baby that is the killer of the baby. But let's not get off too far here.
No, that's very interesting, Joe, because I think you, unlike many people who are elected to office who hold your worldview, are being very honest, which I appreciate. So you want the parent to be forced to kill their child if they have more than 2 children.
This is what set me off on the whole thing. It's the immigration thing. People overpopulate their country in Mexico. I'm getting to it.
Okay.
They overpopulate. They want to come over the border, and they don't believe in any birth control, and they want to do this, breed to oblivion mentality. And the only purpose in life some people have is to breed.
Okay, but Joe, back to the point at hand. You believe that the government should adopt a policy, every government, that if you have more than 1 or 2 children, that third child should be killed.
I do not believe that. No, I don't like that.
That's what you said.
It's got to be done before that happens.
What do you mean before that happens?
Well,
sterilization.
We've got to make it so people cannot reproduce.
So sterilize all mothers who've had more than 2 kids.
One of these days that may have to happen, Dan.
All of them.
Yeah.
Every month.
Let me end by Alaska is an oil producer, guys.
Not technically.
744.
Not technically.
744.
other premium brand, according to ALG. Get the 2014 CLA 254 Matic starting at just $31,900.
MSRP for a 2014 CLA 254 Matic excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, final availability, and actual dealer price may vary. Some equipment described as optional. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing. Okay, admit it. You screwed up big time. You had a couple of beers after work. Took one with you in the car. You could have taken a cab, but no. You did just about everything wrong you could do. You spent a night in jail before you got bailed out. And now you stand to lose it all. Your car, your license, your insurance, maybe your job. Brother, you are in trouble. You know, you made a lot of bad decisions so far, so it's time you make a good one. Get on the phone right now and call attorney Josh Fink, 274-0493. No, you can't put it off. You still have a few rights left, and Josh will help you protect them. You're going to need them. You want to make things worse? I didn't think so. Call attorney Josh Fink, 274-0493. There's no excuse for what you did, and you need the best defense possible. So do it now. Attorney Josh Fink, 274-0493. Get the defense you need.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
Well, that's just heartbreaking. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel here on KOAN, KVNT. We're streaming live. danfagan.us, our number 569-1080. It's just heartbreaking, Glenn. And I admire our caller, Joe, who is a man who obviously is not afraid to say what many typically would not admit, that climate change is a problem because we have too many people, and that government needs to begin to adopt the same policy China has, which is after one or two children. In China, it's one child, but I guess he'd let your second child live. But after the second child, the third, fourth, fifth, however many child should be killed, should be exterminated. That is such a grotesque notion. It is evil personified. It is placing the creation above the creator. It's worshiping the creation instead of the creator. To say that human life is expendable at the expense of this perceived threat that really doesn't even exist. You know, it's one thing to say, I want to tax the oil companies into oblivion. I want to make cars all electric. I don't want any more CO2 emissions because climate change is killing us all. That's one thing. And if the left stopped there, then I think I'd say, okay, ruin the economy for your fake, phony threat. But the left, which has always been, in my opinion, about one thing and one thing only, which is the death culture, really uses climate change as an excuse to perpetrate the death culture. I don't know if the average listener quite understands what it would be like for a mother and a father in China who already have a child and they get pregnant and the government official comes in and says that child has to die. I don't know that the average U.S. citizen can quite grasp the horror those parents are going to go through in that moment. That's leftism at its core. It's about death. And whatever phony excuse they have to manufacture to advance the death of little babies, they'll do. And it's a tragedy beyond words.
Well, it is so completely un-American, the idea that the government has the right, and as far as Joe's concerned, the responsibility to tell you that your children are not going to save the next generation. Your children are not going to teach the next generation. Your children are not going to enhance this country. Your children are going to kill the next generation. What arrogance. What is it that is the opposite of the United States of America? My children are well educated. My children are not dependent on the government in any way. My children do not need anyone. My children will provide for other people. The idea that I should have had Karina and Juliana, if I may give some names here to the people that you want dead, Karina and Juliana and Thomas and Elena, that these all needed to die. And Gregory and Matthew and now Kara, all gone. That is the function of government. So they strip from me, of course, privacy. They strip from me religious beliefs. They strip from you the right to pursue happiness. They strip from you everything. I mean, that is tyranny. And by the way, if I may just clarify something for people who don't know, Joe does not know what he's talking about. Paul Ehrlich was wrong. The population bomb was totally disproven, 100%. There's nothing in the book that's true. You know what he said? We could not possibly produce enough food to feed 4 billion people. He's wrong. We could feed 50 billion people if we had freedom across this world. If we had freedom across this world, we could feed as many people as we want. You know why? Because the oceans can produce food. Because we could produce 2 or 3 times as much food as we wanted in the United States of America. We could produce as much food as we want. We're not hemmed in by this unpredictable, unaccountable, we're the slaves of this world. We are brilliant. And people on the left don't get that. They just don't trust humanity. They don't trust our ability to innovate. They don't trust our ability to live and be free. If I was to characterize what the difference between left and right is, the left does not believe that we are good, that we can figure it out. They will design it for us. Mark Begich and all his boys in Washington, D.C. and girls will define for us. This is what success looks like. Here is what you will do to achieve it. Not I figure out what my success is, and then I achieve that myself. That's the difference to me.
569-1080 is the number, 569-1080, if you'd like to join the broadcast. And, I admire Joe for his honesty. Many other people who believe exactly as he does, that population control is important, abortion on demand is crucial. Joe Biden, it's not because he's brave, he's just stupid. He went over to China and said, I understand your one-child policy.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are a lot of people who believe the way Joe does, but they don't have the courage to say it.
Well, I'm glad that I'm glad Joe's out there, and we didn't have a conversation while he was on, but he is honest, and he is clear-headed, even though he's wrong on his facts. Paul Ehrlich from Stanford is a fraud. The population bomb was a complete and total falsehood. Everything in it is wrong, from the growth rates across the world to how much food we could produce to everything. Everything in the population bomb was wrong. But he is a hero of the left, and if that's where he gets his information, if anybody else gets their information from Paul R. Ehrlich, who is a PhD, who worked for Stanford, and who believes that we need to curb humanity, that humanity is a virus, which, look, the left does believe. That's why they hate the Kinnick Arm Bridge. They don't want humanity to expand to another 70 square miles of land. So they'll do everything they can to stop it. I agree with you, Dan. The most critical aspect of discussion is honesty. If a person is not, that's why I get nothing out of listening to some of the people on the left. Who's the guy who's on just after us, 8 to 9 o'clock on the other station? Bernadette and Berkowitz. Yeah. I get nothing out of Berkowitz because I don't think he ever tells the truth. He'll say, "Oh, I'm a fiscal conservative." He goes down to Juneau. You know how he votes? Non-fiscal conservative. He never tells the truth, and he doesn't have to because his side knows. Look, this is a game, and the game is we beat conservatives, we win, and it doesn't matter what you say, and it doesn't matter what you do. So look, I get very little out of it, but I do want Joe to know Paul R. Ehrlich totally discredited. Population bomb, totally wrong.
Well, the whole global warming, climate change cult, it's all, the fix is in. You know, you've got the government that wants you to prove that man causes climate change, and they're willing to fund anybody who could come up with more evidence. But if you don't believe that, you're not going to get any funding. The fix is in.
Mm-hmm.
And there are tons of scientists who have found evidence to the opposite, or maybe they haven't found conclusive evidence either way. But they're never reported on in the media. They don't get funding. And it's just the way the system works.
Well, people should know this about global warming. It's been warmer in the last 1,100 years than it is now.
But it's climate change now.
Yeah, the end of the world didn't come. I just want people to realize that the end of the world didn't come. They are making claims that we know are false, right? None of their models have turned out to be true. Every single model's wrong. But we know they're false, and we even know why they're false, because they say that the Earth's going to retain more heat than it gives off, right?
Yes.
And that's why their models are wrong. Well, they don't have to update them because they're protected by the government and by the leftist class who runs media. If they were, by the way, I wonder what percentage of movies that have to do with the future reference some kind of catastrophic event from warming. I think it's about 95, 98, 99%.
There's a guy named, what's his name? Something Faby, Stalin Faby or something. He's got a funny name. He's from Ireland. And he and his partner, they set out to make a movie to prove global warming and climate change was man-made. And they found the opposite.
Uh-oh.
And they reported it. And they've done like the pro-fracking movie.
Oh, yeah.
And they do great work. We had them on the old show, KFQD. And it's amazing. It's amazing. You look at Al Gore's Inconvenient Truth. How many... There are now 35 inconvenient truth errors that did not come true in Al Gore's.
They said that the sea levels are going to rise 20 feet at New York.
Yeah.
Right?
And it said the sea level would rise up to 20 feet, would be caused by melting of West Arctica and Greenland.
Wrong.
Pacific Islands would be drowning.
Wrong.
The CO2 would be driving temperature. Snows of Kilimanjaro would be completely gone.
Wrong.
That's wrong. Lake Chad would be completely empty. Hurricane Katrina would be...
The nice thing about being on the left hand is you never have to apologize. You never have to update your statistics. It's so easy.
Hurricane Katrina back in 2005 would happen every year.
Wrong. Lowest level.
Polar bear population would shrink. It's actually increased. Yeah, just wrong. 569-1080, 569-1080. Glen Biegel, Dan Fagan here in the morning. KOAN, KVNT. We're streaming live. DanFagan.us. We'll take a break. Be right back. Live. DanFagan.us. We'll take a break.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in... What did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928 and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage. You're listening to Hot Talk, KOAN, Anchorage, AM 1080, and retranslated on 95.1 FM on K236CG, Anchorage.
Play at Federal Court in Boston, where Fox News Radio's Bill Marcus is live.
Lisa, Judge George O'Toole earlier this morning telling the first of 6 groups of 200 prospective jurors it'll be 3 weeks before opening arguments. The judge saying the trial itself could last 3 to 4 months. Prosecutors are said not to be interested in a plea deal that could spare Dzhokhar Tsarnaev the death penalty if he's convicted. The 21-year-old accused marathon bomber, a witness to the jury selection. Dressed in a black sweater and khakis, he tugged at his collar as Judge O'Toole told prospective jurors of how American colonists' grievances against England's King George had led to citizens, and not a king, determining innocence or guilt. Lisa?
Bill, thanks. Same-sex couples get a green light in Florida to get married. Fox News Radio's Eben Brown has this live in Miami.
Well, Lisa, here in Miami-Dade County, Florida Judge Sarah Zabel just lifted her own order halting same-sex marriages now that a federal court rules the state's ban on the practice is unconstitutional and void throughout the state.
I'm lifting the stay.
And now some gay and lesbian couples could be getting married in Miami today. Court clerks in the rest of the state are due to begin issuing licenses to same-sex couples tomorrow. Some, like in the Florida Keys and in Fort Lauderdale, will open at midnight, Lisa.
Evan, thanks. A plunge on Wall Street. Right now, the Dow is down 241 points as oil prices tumble, dipping below $50 a barrel for the first time in 5 years. Cheap gas, part of the reason for a strong finish for automakers in 2014. GM, Fiat Chrysler, Nissan, and Honda all reporting December sales increases that could push annual U.S. sales to the best finish since 2006. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
As a retired teacher, I look for ways to save money for the things I love, like traveling the world. Medicare plans change each year. Fortunately, my Health Mart pharmacist helped me understand my insurance, saving me money on prescriptions. And they can help you too. My pharmacist cares about my health and the things I love, whatever that might be.
Health Mart, caring for you and about you. Visit healthmart.com for the locally owned pharmacy near you.
Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost you thousands. The Quicken Loans PMI Advantage is our lender-paid mortgage insurance program. You see PMI so you don't have to. PMI Advantage can give you more options, more flexibility, and may save you thousands when you refinance. To learn more, call us at 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN, or visit us at QuickenLoans.com.
Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Chris Scavels back in tomorrow, and the House Speaker now has challengers. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
He wants you to call him House Speaker.
It's the year-end Gotta Go sale going on now at Giant Worthington Ford. With new models pouring in daily, the old ones gotta go.
And because we've got to make room, you can save a lot of money on your next car, truck, or SUV.
Choose from over 1,000 vehicles for just $95 down.
And if you're looking for low payments, we can help with that too.
Don't forget, we have our own finance company. We can finance anyone we want to. Here's a Ford Fusion, just $14,900.
That's all-wheel drive.
Here's a Ford Escape, just $12,900.
And that's a 4x4. And test drive this Jeep Liberty 4x4. It's just $15,900. And a Kia Sportage 4x4 for $16,900.
With the 2015s pouring in daily, the old ones gotta go. It's the year-end Gotta Go sale going on now at Giant Worthington Ford.
2012 Fusion Q1966, 2010 Escape Q1693, 2012 Liberty Q1910, 2012 Sportage Q2359. Unapproved credit, subject to prior sales. See dealer for details. Ends 1/8/2015.
Get addicted to the First Lady of Talk Radio, Laura Ingraham.
Alaska Talk is hot even when it's cold. Hi, Anchorage. This is Laura Ingraham. Join me weekdays for your healthy radio addiction on Hot Talk KOAN.
Weekdays beginning at 2 p.m. on Hot Talk KOAN, 95.1 FM, 1080 AM.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember
remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555. Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and...
Same time, you'll receive excellent training, educational assistance, and many other benefits. Join an outstanding team in the Air Force Reserve. For more information on the Air Force Reserve, go to afreserve.com.
This message is sponsored by the Air Force Reserve and aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this local station.
Fagan, Biegel. Weekdays, 6 to 9 a.m. The Talk of the Valley, KVNT.
8:06 Monday morning. Oh, it's so cold. You know, we've been spoiled with this winter. And this morning, oh, no, this is winter. This is the real thing. Dan Fagan here, broadcasting to you on KOAN, KVNT, streaming live, danfagan.us. My number, 569-1080. 569-1080. I'm afraid to look. I honestly do not want to look, but I'm going to look. It's been a while. It's been a while since I felt what I felt this morning. Let me look. Here it is. Okay, I'm dialing it up. Okay, well, 5 degrees. It's warmed up a little. That's kind of toasty. It's been a while since I've gotten out into the outdoors and felt where my hands were in pain. Of course, I didn't have gloves, so I have my own. Phone call, Brian. I had my own. It's my fault. I wasn't prepared, but.
Was that ringing for a while, or was that like the second ring?
569-1080. I have no idea. 569-1080. That's the number. If you'd like to join us, be a part of the broadcast. As I said, we're streaming live, danfagan.us. Pretty cool thing. We're on that internet all across the globe. You can watch us. All right, let's take some phone calls. 569-1080. Let's go to Bruce. Bruce, you're on.
Hi, Dan. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure, Bruce.
Hey, I think the guy down Moose Pass has a lot of things right. And I think, the government is really one of the biggest oil producers here because they control it all. If they want to open up more land for oil, they can.
What are you talking about, the federal government or the state government?
Uh-huh.
Which one?
All of them.
Yeah.
In fact, I think somewhere along the line, we need to start looking at how many government people there are. Last time I looked, in the United States, 1 out of 7 jobs are government jobs. And in the state of Alaska, 1 out of 4.
Yeah.
And of course, that gives our government people, they've got to go find the money to pay for their people. So that puts them kind of into everything.
Well, I agree with you on the when it comes to the government not opening up land to development. That's certainly true with the federal government, but I don't think that's true necessarily with the state government. I think the state's pretty bullish on resource development here in Alaska.
Well, I kind of think that the government's kind of into everything, but I wanted to get onto the CO2 thing that you guys were talking about.
Okay.
I think if you go on Wikipedia and you look up something called carbon sink, you'll see lots of ideas for taking carbon out of the air.
Carbon what?
Taking CO2 out of the air.
I know. What was it called? Carbon what?
Carbon sink.
Sink, like S-I-N-K?
S-I-N-K.
Okay.
Okay, and if you get in there, you'll find things that they talk about, like making biochar, which is like making charcoal and how that takes carbon out of the air. You can find things like iron fertilization of the ocean, which takes massive amounts of carbon dioxide out of the air. And you can find other things in there too. And I think if everybody just goes and looks for all these things, that we could start taking, if that's the biggest problem in the whole system, is taking carbon dioxide out of the air, we can do it.
Well, Bruce, I just, look, I could be wrong. But I have come to believe in my heart of hearts that the whole global warming / climate change belief system, some call it a cult, we'll give them a belief system, is nothing more than a theory that is concocted, that is designed to control the population and further the death culture. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. The government, you do agree.
I agree with you. I appreciate your opinion, and if I was having to make a list of all the things, I think that would be on the list. Okay, but I think that, in my opinion, carbon dioxide is a resource, and we could take that and turn that in to something that would help build our economy, make jobs, and make for a much better world. Now, would you rather just complain about it, or would you rather build a bigger and better world?
Well, I like the bigger, better world option.
We can grow more food in the oceans, like was said. We can grow more food out there, and we can feed more people. We can make a bigger and better world.
Well, if this is something,
but I think that all this CO2 and all this stuff is they're just using it to put down everything. Well, they want to use it for control. And well, if I had to put my list together, that one of the reasons they do it is for control. And boy, I tell you, if I could be a government and control my people, I mean, isn't that what governments do?
Well, if there's all this ways to make money by growing CO2 or growing food in the ocean, why hasn't the free market moved in that direction?
I think that's a good question, and I think you should make a list and say why they aren't. Why aren't we?
Well, if it was profitable, they would.
Okay, maybe that's one of the reasons they're not. Maybe is there another reason why they're not?
Well, typically the free market.
If we took more CO2 out of the air and made plants, don't you think fish would have more to eat and we could have more fish?
Yeah, I don't know that we have a shortage of fish now.
Well, you want more?
Well, sure, why not?
Okay, why not?
Yeah.
If we could drop plants down to the bottom of the ocean and they got covered up and made more oil for the future, wouldn't you want more oil?
Sure.
That's the way the world works. We have to look at the way nature's done things, I think.
Well, what I try to do...
And maybe we need to make more money on it. But right now, I think, like was said before, the government is in this, and the government's not, that's what the government does. They control.
Well, the government is controlling. The free market is liberating. Because the free market produces excellence, because excellence produces value. And that's really kind of the difference between the left and the right. The left wants the government to control the narrative and the decision-making. The right believes in the free market, that money will find its way toward excellence and value. And that's why we have, when the government drives things like the seafood plant and all these other, here in Alaska, and the grain elevators and all this, the dairy farm stuff. But when the free market drives things, it's a bottom line mentality. Does it work? Is there value created as a result of this investment? Will people make money off of it? Does it fit a need? And that's the main difference between, I think, what drives the left and what drives the right. Free market versus government control. A very very small group of high-minded intellectuals who are government officials determining where dollars are spent, or people who have had a history of creating value in their life in the free market determining where dollars are spent. A dollar is much less valuable in the government sector than it is in the private sector. That's because the private sector is looking for value. I appreciate your call, Bruce. Thank you very much. 569-1080. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel in the morning here on KOAN, KVNT. It's 8:14. KOAN, KVNT. It's 8:14.
Don't just sit there. Give them a call. 569.
It's the hard truth. In today's world, negative experiences quickly find a way to go online. One disgruntled customer, a bad employee, or broken personal relationship can easily post an ill-advised photo, tweet, rumor, story, bad review, and there it is right on page 1 when you search your name or business online. In the past, you had no way to fight back. Well, now you can. Grab a pen and take down this phone number or store it in your cell phone, but call 1-800-460-5733. That's 1-800-460-5733. When you call, you'll get free info that'll show you how a reputation management company can easily build positive online content for you and legally bury negative information. This is not something you can do on your own. Don't lose any more business or miss out on another personal or business opportunity because of what is wrongfully being said about you online. Take control of your internet search results. Call 1-800-460-5733. That's 1-800-460-5733. Hurry, don't delay. Call 1-800-460-5733 today.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be the best time. The current interest rates are still very low in comparison to previous loan rates. Now is the time to take advantage of this uncommon phenomenon. We will look back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell. Homeowners planning to sell should call us at 244-0821. We will be happy to come out and do a comparative market analysis at your convenience. Call Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821. That's 244-0821.
Matsu Construction Academy and Alaska Helmets to Hard Hats salute our U.S. veterans and the troops who are serving our country. We owe today's achievements to those who fight to secure the safety of our country for future generations. This message is from Matsu Construction Academy and Alaska Helmets to Hard Hat, where they proudly serve those who serve the United States. For information, call 907-376-4704 for Matsu Construction and Alaska Helmets to Hard Hats, wishing our troops a safe return home.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 10.
Back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell.
8:17 in the morning. Good morning to you. The 5th day of January. Here we are rolling right along on the 2015. Dan Fagan on KOAN, KVNT. Streaming live, danfagan.us. And we are also giving you our phone number, which is 569-1080. Our good friend Keith Montauk, especially Truck and Auto. What a guy. Does so much for our military. Loves the troops. Puts on a big combat fishing tournament every year. He and Bob Kendopoulos takes a bunch of combat veterans out fishing for free. Put on a big banquet for them down in Seward. Load them up on charter boats. And I think you know about Keith. Most people do. He's on the board of the Armed Services YMCA. He's pretty much dedicated his life to folks who are combat veterans and served in the military. But Keith also has an auto mechanic shop that's best in town. And he's very trustworthy. That's what I love about him. Guy is absolutely trustworthy. You bring your vehicle in, he will hook you up, give you good value for your repair dollar. Keith Montauk, Specialty Truck and Auto, located right across the street from the Long Branch Saloon off of Abbott. Here's his number, 349-1637. 349-1637. Time here, 8:19. 569-1080. I'm a little confused. At how a governor can, the state that he's the governor of. Bill Walker continues to be the plaintiff in the Point Thompson suit against the state. When he attended our, Amanda Coyne and I moderated a debate back on the Friday before the election, and we asked the Walker then if he dropped his suit against DNR on Point Thompson. Excuse me. Yeah, his what's the state basically? I said DNR, but it's the state. Department of Natural Resources on Point Thompson, if he were elected governor. And back then, on the Friday before the election, he said, yeah, I'll drop the suit. Well, despite that, he has yet to drop the suit. It appears like he's not in any hurry to remove himself. In fact, his spokesperson, Grace Jang, said as much just recently. Now, Walker's law partner, Greg Richards, as most of you know, is now Attorney General, acting Attorney General, until he gets confirmed, and there's some question about whether he will. Recently, Walker gave Lieutenant Governor Byron Malott the authority to decide if Walker's prior litigation against the state when he was a private attorney should preclude him from making decisions about those cases now that he's governor. That's according to mandacoin.com. In a letter, Walker specifically mentions giving Malott decision-making power over whether Walker should be involved in Point Thompson. So what Mr. Walker has said is, hey, Byron, I want you to tell me whether I can continue to be involved in litigation in Point Thompson. So just to give you a generic overall picture here, folks, you've got the Point Thompson field, which is loaded with gas and oil. It's key to the gas pipeline advancing. The state of Alaska and Exxon reached an unprecedented deal to develop Point Thompson. Mr. Walker called it the most corrupt deal in the history of the state, some words to that effect. And he sued. Now he's governor. So now he's saying to Byron Malott, hey, I want you to determine whether I can continue to be involved in this litigation. Now, his law partner, Craig Richard, is now the Attorney General. They sold their law business, Richards and Walker did, to a guy named Robin Brenna, who's also rabidly anti-oil. Now, the lawsuit alleges that DNR should have had more input from the legislature and the public before setting the plan of development for the field, which is absolutely ridiculous. There was plenty of input. Here's what Walker says now. I filed this as a public interest litigant. The deal was illegal then, it's illegal now. I'm exploring procedural options to substitute myself out of a potential new plaintiff. There's no immediate hurry. I want to make sure the thing is done right and in the interest of the people of Alaska. This has nothing to do with stopping current activity on Point Thompson. I would disagree. Now, I cannot prove this. This is me speculating. Take it for what it's worth. But Bill Walker is a man who has completely dedicated his existence to the state of Alaska building and owning and operating the gas pipeline. His 52% ownership is what I'm talking about, which he has promoted and said that he would hold. The Friday before the election, I specifically asked Governor Walker at this debate. I was the moderator. I said, Governor, are you going to continue with your 52% ownership plan of the gas pipeline? And Mr. Walker said, yes. Then I turned to Governor Parnell, who was also on the panel. I said, Governor Parnell, does that mean we'll have to start from scratch? Governor Parnell said, yes. Now what Walker's saying is that he's only going to continue to push for the 52% ownership if one of the investment partners drop out. I would submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, that if Mr. Walker really wanted the private sector to control the pipeline and not the government, he would immediately drop his lawsuit against Point Thompson. But what I think he's doing, and again, this is me reporting what I think, not what I know, what I believe he's doing is it is his intention to sabotage the Parnell deal. And the reason that I believe he's doing that is because he has dedicated his entire life to the state owning the gas pipeline. Everything he's done up to this point has been to that end. And to think that all of a sudden now he's had a change of heart, that's a tough sell. Another reason I believe Mr. Walker is trying to sabotage the Parnell deal is because he can get away with it. His good buddy and new best friend, Alice Rogoff, publisher of the Alaska Daily Dispatch, whatever it is, she's not going to call him on it. The oil companies, they're so terrified of government, they're not going to call him on it because he can hurt them in so many other ways. So what he can do is he can sabotage the deal. The oil companies aren't going to say cover for him. And he'll just say it was one of the producers got scared feet. So now the state must step in and take control of the pipeline, which basically gives Vince Beltrami, head of the AFL-CIO, control of the pipeline, which means everything is run through the unions. which is what I think was the plan from the beginning. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am telling you what I suspect. I could be wrong. Frankly, I hope I am. It doesn't make sense why Mr. Walker would do this. I think Mr. Parnell has gotten so close to a pipeline, Walker would get all the credit, but the state wouldn't own it. Keep in mind, Wally Hickel, Mr. Walker's mentor, and it is a belief system that Wally Hickel carried, and it's all the backbone movement. It's the Malcolm Roberts and the owner state and the socialism and the all for one for all, the community. Wally Hickel said on my show many times, KFQD, that the greatest mistake the state of Alaska ever made was not owning the Trans-Alaska Pipeline, not controlling it. And that's the school of thought that Mr. Walker comes from. That's what the backbone people have always said. They want the state, not the producers, to control the infrastructure. Now, those who believe in the private sector would say, well, you're never going to get any investment that way because these companies are not going to spend billions and billions of dollars on a project. What is it, $65 billion now they say it could be for the gas line, unless they have some sort of control. So therein lies the scenario. Will Mr. Walker abandon his lifelong goal and work of having the state own and control the gas line just to get a gas line? Or will he continue his life's work, sabotage the Parnell deal, get away with it, and blame it on the producers, shut down the development currently in place at Point Thompson? That's what we're looking for. That's the scenario. Now, I would imagine that the backbone people, Jim Whitaker, all these guys, I'm sure they'd probably deny all that. And look, I'll be the first to admit I could be wrong. But the evidence overwhelmingly seems to point in the direction of the scenario that I am presenting to you this morning. And it would be a shame that we would kill the gas pipeline because we don't trust the private sector. It would be a shame. Many investment dollar has been killed in the United States of America because government does not trust the private sector. It won't be the first time and it won't be the last. I hope I'm wrong, folks. I'd love to get your thoughts. 569-1080. 569-1080. That's the number. Email me, danfaganshow@icloud.com. danfaganshow@icloud.com. We're streaming live on the website, danfagan.us, both video and audio. We're also broadcasting to you on KOAN, KVNT. 95.1 FM is the best way to get us. If you're listening on any other signal, especially if you're in Anchorage, 95.1 FM is the strongest signal. You can get us on 1080 AM in Anchorage, but by far the better signal is 95.1 FM. If you're in the Valley, 92.5 is our FM signal, 1020 AM. But I also understand that we can get 1080 AM out in the Valley also. So you got all kinds of options if you want to listen to the show. 569-1080. 569-1080. It's 6 degrees now. 6 degrees.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
Local news brought to you by Jansen Funeral Homes. Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. Residents of the western Alaska community of White Mountain are reeling from the New Year's Day murder of the city utility manager in an alleged case of deadly domestic violence. 40-year-old mother of two Esther Lincoln was found strangled in her home on Thursday. Her live-in boyfriend, 31-year-old Gilbert Olana, is being held in the case. Anchorage had its lowest homicide rate in 2 decades in 2014. We hear from Ann Kenda.
The homicide total for Anchorage for 2014 was either 13 or 14, since one death is still under investigation to see whether it will be classified as homicide. Victims died in separate incidents from January 7th through October 15th and ranged in age from 15 to 64. 2 cases remain unsolved. 2014's rate is better than previous years, which averaged more than 20 homicides since 1991.
That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
Cold day today with clouds and sun, high of 11. Then mainly clear and cold tonight with a low 4 below 0. Cold day with clouds and sun tomorrow, high 15 and a low tomorrow night of 10. Then a rather cloudy day Wednesday with a high 21. Mostly cloudy and warmer for Thursday, high 31, then remaining mostly cloudy Friday, high 32. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
My savings are gone.
Okay, where were they last?
Here, right before I spent them on that vacation to Aruba.
Weird. Not weird. Not saving now means no money later. For free ways to save, go to feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Related injuries. And many of the injuries are caused by one particular type of toy. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. As a father and a doctor, I was really interested to dig deep on the findings of a new study which looked at rates of injuries to kids associated with their toys. Toy-related injuries have jumped nearly 40%, and researchers found that much of the increase is thanks to foot-powered scooters. Kids love them, but most aren't using them properly. Falls and collisions are the most common reason they're ending up in the emergency room. That's according to a recent study. It is an important reminder for parents to make sure their kids are using scooters properly, on a flat surface, and away from traffic. Also, let me add this. As a neurosurgeon, the number one piece of advice I can share, you can probably already guess, make sure your child always wears a helmet. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
As a retired teacher, I look for ways to save money for the things I love, like traveling the world. Medicare plans change each year. Fortunately, my Health Mart pharmacist helped me understand my insurance, saving me money on prescriptions. And they can help you too. My pharmacist cares about my health and the things I love, whatever that might be.
Health Mart, caring for you and about you. Visit healthmart.com for the locally owned pharmacy near you.
Like the taste of fresh apples? Try an Angry Orchard hard cider. At Angry Orchard, we believe in tradition. That's why we use apples from a 100-year-old orchard. It takes 2 apples to make each bottle of Angry Orchard. So raise a glass to a time when apples were best served in a pint glass. Angry Orchard, when you're looking for something a little different. Crisp, refreshing, and not too sweet. Just like me. Angry Orchard hard cider. Branch out.
Angry Orchard Cider Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Drink responsibly, please.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player. An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian. A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth. Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years. I get scared at the dentist. Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley. I know it's important to have good dental health, and you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209. Here's my good friend, Keith Montronock.
Automotive repairs can be frustrating. Let me help. Call 349-1637. I have been in business for nearly 20 years at the same location. Specialty Truck and Auto is in South Anchorage behind the Long Branch Saloon where Diamond becomes Abbott. I have 6 ASE certified technicians working from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. I have a voucher for any of the 6 Alaska Laser Wash locations for each customer. If you schedule ahead and need a ride when you drop your vehicle off, I may be able to help. Call Specialty Truck and Auto, 349-1637.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
$8:36 on this January 5th, 2015. Ooh, that sounds funny. Dan Fagan here on KOAN, KVNT. Also streaming live. danfagan.us. Mike Daniels is a smart guy. He's got a lot of wisdom. He runs Country Financial in Alaska, where they have 13 locations. The country representatives here in Alaska, they can do you a lot of good by helping you understand financial planning, helping you understand money matters, getting you to a successful, worry-free, stress-free retirement. Go see a country representative at Country Financial. Here's the number, 866-COUNTRY. 866-COUNTRY. They have 13 locations, as I said. And you will realize 10 minutes into your meeting with them that this was a good idea. 866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. 569-1080 is our number. 569-1080. Give us a call. Let us know what's on your mind. Let's go to Russ. Russ, you're on.
Yeah, hi. I'm no expert on it, but it seems to me one reason Walker's doing this, or the main reason, is that the oil companies just won't sell us the gas. And he's trying to force them to sell us gas. We had a deal in the 80s, 95, in the 2000s, and the 80s deal. We had everything together, and they just wouldn't sell us the gas. We had the financing, the permits, everything.
Yeah. Well, let's look at this for a minute, Russ. Let's say that when we had the notion to go down through the lower 48 to sell the gas down there and to pump it into Midwest, looking at what has happened to the price of gas and how much that project would have cost, and the overflowing of gas right now in the lower 48, most people would say that would have been a bad decision.
No, I'm talking about the Oriental nations had contracts. We actually had actual contracts. They were willing to buy. Can't remember the numbers, but
yeah,
massive amounts of Alaska gas.
Well, the customers in Asia are always willing to sign contracts for cheap gas, and the contracts that Mr. Walker talked about, which have yet to be produced, he just said he had them. He wouldn't give us the detail of them. You had to assume that the price that those customers were willing to pay was rock bottom. And that's the way it works. So you can always find customers who say, yeah, if you promise to sell me gas at this price for 25 years, I'm in. But it's not the customers that take the risk. It's the producers.
Well, I like I said, I'm no expert. It's been a while since I read about it, but they had committed billions of dollars to it. And
who, the customers?
The customers.
Yeah, buying gas at a cheap price. I mean, who wouldn't do that?
No, it wasn't cheap. It was actually above market value.
No, that's not true.
Back in the 80s and 95.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I may be wrong, but okay.
Well, Russ, the bottom line is, and this is just a basic fundamental principle, and you may disagree with me, but it's the risk takers, it's the private sector that I trust more than the government. I really don't care what Bill Walker says. I don't care what John Parnell says. I want to know the people who are going to take the risk. What do they say? Is this a good investment?
Well, it's not that they won't take the risk. It's that they're not making any. They want to re-inject the gas to get the higher prices for oil. And heck with the state. And the state's been suffering for. We should have had this done 30 years ago.
No, if we had done this 30 years ago, we would have lost out on billions and billions of dollars of oil. The RCA, the agency that is tasked with the job of maximizing our resources, has said over and over and over again, if we had gotten the gas out of there 10, 15, 20 years ago, we would have lost billions of dollars in oil. You're right about re-injecting the gas, but the oil is much more valuable. If we depleted the North Slope of gas before we got all that oil out of there, it would have been a disaster. And again, Russ, that's the private sector.
Yeah, that's the argument. Yeah, I've heard that argument. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd buy it. There's other ways to get oil out.
Well, why would the producers not want to get our gas to market?
Because it is cheaper. There's other ways to get oil out of the ground, but it is cheaper to use gas.
So, is it not good for the state of Alaska to have more oil developed?
Well, it sure isn't good for places like Fairbanks. The place is worse polluted than Shanghai because of people having to burn wood.
Yeah.
I have friends there paying $1,200 a month for fuel.
You think the producers should just take care of Fairbanks and look at it as a welfare kind of thing?
I think the state, which is what Walker is doing, should force. We should have raised their taxes sky high back in the 80s. Look, you sell us the gas, or are you going to be?
Well, we already did that. We raised taxes to the roof on ACES, and we missed out on the oil boom that the rest of North America enjoyed because of ACES.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that. Yeah. Can let me throw one other thing actually that's been bugging me for that. I've talked to a few legislatures about it. A few of them know, but you realize we're paying. I don't know what the price of Alaska crude is right now, but we've been paying the state and the refineries up to 10 barrel for high sulfur crude than they do for sweet oil from the states.
And so, what's the reason for that?
Because the oil companies can screw it. They sell it to themselves, and they've been doing it for 30 years. They sell it to their own refineries on a different, there's some market manipulation. It's complicated, but that's why we pay $1 more a gallon for gas and oil than they do in the States, even though we produce 500,000 barrels a day.
Because the oil companies are doing what?
What they do is they sell maybe 250, 300,000 barrels in state.
Okay.
And so they only have to refine on their own in their own refineries. Now most refineries are owned by other entities.
Right.
Well, they own a few, and that 400,000 barrels a day isn't that much to refine. So what they do is they eat the cost. It costs extra to refine the high sulfur crude that we have, but they're able to charge us $10 more a barrel for it. And
so, what do you want done? How do you want to fix that?
Tax the heck out of them.
Well, Russ, as a general rule, do you believe taxes deter investment?
Yes.
Then why would you want less investment?
I want to get a fair deal. We own the oil. I'm not trying to deter investment. I'm trying to force them to.
But you just said taxes deter investment. You want to tax the hell out of them. That doesn't make sense.
I want to tax them until they yell uncle.
Well, they did. They shut down investment during ACES.
What? Well,
I'm sorry, Russ. I got to break here. Thank you. 844.
Well,
I'm sorry, Russ. I got to break here. Thank you. 844.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
The highway, a strip of asphalt to carry you between points A and B. But in an all-new 2015 Mercedes-Benz GLA, there is no point B. Because when you're driving a GLA from Mercedes-Benz, you're not concerned with the destination, only the adventure. With off-road transmission mode and a sleek design, this SUV performs with confident style on any terrain. And no matter where your adventure takes you, the all-new GLA's sporty, expressive styling fits in, yet stands out, complementing the many sides of you. See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer today and see the world differently in a GLA 250 4MATIC, starting at $33,300.
MSRP for a 2015 GLA 250 4MATIC excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep. Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
Make your dollar stretch with Sicily's first ever BOGO special. Buy one, get one half price. Save 50% off pizza, calzone, pasta, salad, chicken wings, and everything else on the Sicily's menu.
When I buy a pizza, can I have wings at half price?
Yes.
Can I save 50% off pasta if I buy a calzone?
Yes, you can save 50% off everything on the menu. If you want a great deal, call Sicily's 333-8000 and ask for the Sicily's BOGO special. 50% off everything on the menu. That's 333-8000 or order online at SicilysPizza.com. Discounted item must be of equal or lesser value. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's.
Just call Sicily's Pizza. 333-8000.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
Thirteen minutes ahead at 9 o'clock. Very chilly morning. It's 4 degrees here in South Central on this January 5th, right in the heart of winter. Dan Fagan here on KOAN, KVNT. Streaming live, danfagan.us. Our number, 569-1080. 569-1080. Email address, danfaganshow@icloud.com. danfaganshow@icloud.com. Our good friends Frank and Becky Earhart over at Earhart Roofing. Very best in the state when it comes to installing a roof for you. You know, they're the American dream. They started with nothing 42 years ago. Now they're Alaska's premier roofing company. 17 trucks, 60 employees. Still a family business, though. So you know you're going to get quality. And here's another way you know you get quality from Earhart Roofing. They give you a 50-year warranty on your roof. 50 years. Industrial, commercial, residential. You will be satisfied. Better Business Bureau of the Year. Earhart Roofing, here's the number, 345-5555. 345-5555. Earhart Roofing. Again, our number, 569-1080. Bill Walker's Medicaid expansion. You remember he promised to do it. Those of us who are concerned about the welfare state growing and Obamacare being more enabled were terrified and horrified at his decision. But it looks like Mr. Walker is not going to be able to do good on his promise. Remember what he said, I will implement Medicaid expansion on day one. He said that repeatedly. It's still on his website. Hey, Walker people, you may want to take that down because it's day 34 or 5 now. State, of course, still hasn't expanded Medicaid, which is unprecedented, by the way. Literally creating all new dependents, grown, able-bodied adults. Shortly after Walker was elected, according to AmandaCoyne.com, he directed the new DHSS commissioner, which is the Department of Health and Social Services to try to make it happen. However, the current Medicaid payment system is such a mess, as are most things with government, that it's virtually impossible to add a new wave of dependence to it. Oh, that gives me such joy. I take such great pleasure in that. Mr. Walker wants to expand government, but it's such a mess already, he can't. I just don't think anything can make me happier. You say, well, why would Mr. Walker make such a bold campaign promise over and over and over without first seeing if it's doable? You got to fault him for that. You got to call him on that. He also said, Mr. Walker did, that the legislature would not need to approve his actions, although technically the expansion is going to cost a lot of money, and the legislature will need to appropriate the funds, even though the feds are paying for it initially, but just implementing it's going to cost money, and the legislature will have to kick in for that. And with our current fiscal crisis, you know, you would hope, you would pray the legislature would not enable Mr. Walker's expansion of the welfare state in Alaska and Obamacare. You know, the Supreme Court's about to hear a portion of Obamacare that could shut down this whole process. So Mr. Walker promised to grow the welfare state, bring in all new dependents, expand Obamacare. But it turns out the system's already such a mess. He certainly won't be able to live up to his promise of being able to do it on day one. Now, I understand that it's early in his administration. For those of you who like the idea of growing government, expanding the welfare state. So I'm sure eventually they'll clean up the current mess, and then Mr. Walker can expand it. But as for now, he's stuck. I just can't tell you how much pleasure and joy it gives me to be able to report to you that the part of government Mr. Walker wants to expand is already such a mess, he's going to have to wait to expand it. I just cannot tell you how much pleasure and joy that brings me. Because you see, folks, I believe deep in my heart, when you expand the welfare state, you hurt people. I'm not for people's pain and suffering. But when people latch onto the welfare state and become part of the welfare state, I believe you are hurting them as an individual, as a free spirit, as someone who's born and created to work. I believe that. I'm not opposed to expanding the welfare state for those who are truly in need and incapable of making their own way because of disability, sickness, frailty, mental illness. But just to expand the welfare state to able-bodied adults, just to do it, to make the leftist media and the Democrats and Byron Malott happy, I'm sorry. I'm not down with that. 569-1080. Will Mark Begich run for mayor? Doubt it. There's so many other opportunities for him. Amanda Coyne, in her predictions for 2015, says that Begich will probably sit out the mayor's race, leaving Dan Coffey and Andrew Halcrow, I guess. I don't know whether they're leaving out Hollis French. French has got $50,000 when he abandoned his party and decided to allow a Republican to take his place. I don't know about Andrew Halcrow. You know, Andrew is the rap on him is he's always the smartest guy in the room. He's a hard leftist on social issues. Hard leftist. It's hard to the left that you can get. He does seem to understand that taxes deter investment, So his leftism. But then again, Lisa Murkowski and Andrew Halcrow, if they had their way 10, 12 years ago, we'd be paying state income tax for the last 12 years. Think about that. Think about the bite out of your wallet that would have taken. Seems to me that's all you got to do when you run against them. 12 years of state income taxes, if Halcrow had his way. Dan Coffey, I don't know what to think of Dan Coffey. I hear good things about him. I hear bad things about him. I don't know. He seems to know city government. Amy Dembowski, or however her last name is pronounced, she's apparently the only true conservative in the race. Pretty green behind the ears. Look, I think it's wet behind the ears is the saying. Pretty green. Seems like a nice gal. Don't think she's got much of a chance. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know how conservative Anchorage is anymore. We got Dan Sullivan reelected. That was good. That's coming up this fall, you know. Is that right? April? Wow, didn't we just have an election? Yeah, come up in April. We're gonna pick a new mayor here in Anchorage. Who knows who will run? You never know. Anybody could pop in at the last minute. I mean, who would have figured Bill Walker would be our governor? If I'd asked you that 6 months ago, you'd have thought I was crazy. You just never know how things are going to go. Who knows? You know what? I think, I don't know if the deadline for running is over, or registering is over or not. It may be. If it is, then that's our field. I don't think it's over yet. I would say that at this point, it would appear Dan Coffey would be the likely winner. I just don't think Halcrow is likable. He's got that kind of that smugness to him, that I'm the smartest guy in the room, don't you know? And his hard left ideas on social issues. I mean, he's hard left on and I think he's really pretty much hard left on most things, except for the ACEs. And sometimes I think that was more of I can't stand Sarah Palin so much. I want to destroy her policy, so I'll adopt, I'll abandon my worldview. I don't know. I can't figure that guy out. We're here every Monday through Friday. KOAN, KVNT, streaming danfagan.us. Glad you found us. Join us tomorrow, 6 to 9 a.m., Monday through Friday, danfagan.us. You can watch us on the internet. I don't think there's another radio station in town that streams video on the internet. Pretty cool thing. 569-1080, 569-1080. Broadcasting 95.1 FM, 92.5 FM in the Valley, 1080 AM in Anchorage, 1020 AM in the Valley. Best signal if you're in Anchorage, 95.1 FM. Don't waste your time on the 1080. I mean, it's a good signal, but 95.1 FM is by far the strongest signal that we broadcast on. It's cold today. High at 17.
My bumper music's not working, but
okay. Well, then I'll stop talking. Have a great day, folks. See you tomorrow. Okay. Well, then I'll stop talking. Have a great day, folks. See you tomorrow.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in to Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Be sure to catch them every weekday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. on the Talk of the Valley, KVNT, 92.5 FM, 1020 a.m. and online at 1020kvnt.